not supposed to happen. There we go. There we go. We are ready to rock and roll, people. Yes. Hi, everyone. Let us know if you can hear us. It says that you can, so let us know in the chat if you can hear us. I just need to do a couple of little things here just to make sure this is all working. That one. Good. Put the chatties up. Need to do this. There was one thing I needed to do. How is everyone? I'm streaming a tiny little bit early. Tiny bit early, but that's okay.
Hear you perfectly, says Brett. Yeah, Brett says it's all coming through. Hello, Brett. Hello, everyone else.
Hi, Brett. Hi, everyone. Yay. Internet should be working, people. I did a speed test earlier today, and like literally, what is it now? 8 o'clock my time here. 3 hours ago. So if everything goes well, we shouldn't have any dramas with the internet. Touch wood. Yep. I'm just setting up the socials. Sorry, won't be long. And view. Yeah, it's working. Cool. We'll move that window over here.
Oh, what's wrong with my eyes?
What can we do? What can we do? Good, nice to hear, nice to recharge, good. Sounds good, says Sasquatch. Good. Everything's good. Cool. Okay, well, yeah, we're a tiny little bit early, but I thought we weren't doing anything here, so might as well stream. We just, we can do that while we're talking to you guys at the same time. Waiting for, we've got Darren coming on, but he's not here. He usually doesn't come until a couple of minutes. He's probably like seconds away. Usually when I say this, he appears magically. And he's not going to do it this time, just to spite me. Did it last week.
And he's in the chat.
Is he? I haven't seen him.
Synthetics there. Yeah, it's just popped up.
Oh, yeah. Cool. Let's have a look who's there in the chat. Okay, so if you're watching and this is the first time you've seen this live stream and you think to yourself, what is this? It's like a mess. Nothing's happening. Well, this is we've got about 15 minutes of pre-show where we just get everything sort of working. We get everyone. 2 o'clock is the advertised time that the main show starts. So hang in there, grab yourself a brew, a beverage, whatever, a friend, whatever you want to grab, a teddy bear, and then hang in there because we're going to talk about clever synths today. And Darren's here now, so that's good. He's just arrived. Give him a second to adjust things. Guest. Chatties. Boom. Get rid of me. Press this button. Pew. We're all here. Darren, is it working? It is, but it is.
I think it is.
Yes, look at that. Isn't it great when things just work? Now, everyone in the chat, let us know if all of our levels, are you happy with them? So we'll start with, mine's already been checked. So we'll go with you, Darren. What's your levels like?
I don't know. You tell me. On my desk, they're looking okay.
I think it depends on whether you lean forward. Do you know what I mean? Like if you get closer to that mic, yeah. If you just if you do that, it literally goes off the charts. But if you sit back in your chair, you can be a bit quiet. So it depends on where you kind of want to be comfortable, I think.
How's that there from about there? That's sort of about where I sit normally. Okay.
I still think it could be tiny bit louder, but that could be just me. But everyone's saying it sounds good. Brooksy, just do you while we're at it too.
Yes. Hello, everyone. Is that coming through all right?
Yeah, you're louder than Darren. You're good. So don't touch yours. You're good.
Right.
I shall
touch nothing.
Yeah, don't touch.
Nothing.
Get your hands off it. That's what I used to say at school. Get your hands off it. Yeah. So Darren, can you come up a little bit?
Right. A little bit. I'm ramming it up here. Even my desk is starting to peak.
Yeah, you sound like you're distorting.
That's unusual because normally I'm all right.
You do sound like you're distorting. I know. What's going on? Let me see if there's something my end that's causing it. Okay, so you've got no gain. Oh,
Right.
so you've got denoise on you. I don't know if you need denoise, do you? Leave it on. Don't touch things, Ranz, because that's when things break. No, there's no reduction here from you. And Andy has got no reduction, and he's got denoise.
I'm
Good.
the same as I've always been. I've even turned it up a little bit.
Yeah. I think everyone's saying it's okay, so we'll go with it. Cool.
You say my desk is not hot enough?
Mate, if she puts a mini skirt on, then we're cooking.
Right, I've just tweaked with the EQ. Is that better?
Oh, that's a bit clearer. Yeah, I like that. What'd you do? Give it a bit more high.
I've just tweaked the EQ a little bit.
Bit more mid.
Bit more high.
Bit more high. That's nice.
Bit more mid.
Yeah.
1 2 1 2 1 2.
Yeah, maybe a little
Is
bit
that better?
less. A little bit less. Go back to where you were when you said I just tweaked it. Try now.
1 2 1 2 1 2.
Yeah, I like that.
How's that?
That's really good.
That's about where I had it.
Yeah, that's really good. Nice and clear. Because you sounded a bit muffled before.
And then I'll just end up with the effects on then.
I haven't mucked around with it. I should. I was going to have like a little MIDI controller where I was going to launch like stupid sound effects and stuff. Like people do that in other shows, but I don't know. I don't know if I can be bothered. It's been done. It's we've got different things here. All right, so okay.
We just need a live stream from Jim. Just go ba-dum, tsh,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I can make sounds. I've got access to sounds here.
room full of bloody technology. We hope so. What are we doing here if we can't do that?
Yeah, we're having trouble. Listen to us. We know everything, but we can't make sounds. All right. So we have got some awesome chatties who have joined us. Why don't we say hello to them? We've got 10 minutes to kill, so I think the first person that jumped in was Human Error. So big hello to Human Error. He goes, big up. Ranzee, Darren and Andy. That's nice of him to say. David was next. David. Hello, David. One of our channel members. Awesome to have you. Brett Lemmings was next. Big hello to Brett. Cresshead's next. Big hello to Cresshead. How many years has he had that cat as his emoticon? I think it's, what do you call it? The avatar, sorry. Is that your actual cat, or is that just some cat you've stolen off the internet and you thought that's a good avatar to have? Kent's there. Big hello, Kent, one of our channel members. Hello, buddy. Just listening to the show this week while laying workshop flooring down. Yeah, we want to see updated pics, so send them my way. We can show it during the show if you like. If you're not too busy, that is. Nothing like being put on the spot. Azio says, hi guys. Sadly, I can't stay long. Aww. Undo whatever plans you have and stay. That's what I say. No, I don't mean that. Wagoo says, hey Ranz, Kent, Azio, all those people. He's saying hello to everyone. So a big hello to Wagoo. Who else have we got? Keep scrolling. Sasquatch is there. A big hello to Sasquatch, who was telling us that we sounded okay, so that's good. I think he was being polite there. That we sounded okay, that was. As you said before, Synthetics here. Big hello to Andy. Nice and early in the morning for you, mate. Or either that you've stayed up all night. So it's nice to have you. Robbie Puricelli is there. Failed Muso. Afternoon all, he says. Martin Taylor's there. Big hello. Chris Coles is there. Hey guys, he says. Hello, Chris. Who else we got? Dark Joint. Hello, all, says Dark Joint. Hello. All says hello back. That's what all does. And we have Merbert Ankravali. I think I've pronounced that right, or Ankravali. Hello, all. After daylight savings, enforced absence, I'm back. See, daylight savings, we have a winner here. Merbert is back, everybody, and he's in Melbourne. Oh, that's why, because it's now only 2 hours difference. Yeah. Yes. So it's only 10:51 p.m. over there. So they can handle it. They haven't turned into pumpkins over there yet. That's great. Good to have some Aussies. Nice stuff.
Good to see you, Merbert.
Yeah, good to see you. Hopefully you pronounced your surname correctly there. Who else have I missed? Ken Lewis, big morning all, he says Ken. Steve Powell, hi peeps. I think that's about it. There's people popping in right now as I say. Neil Wharton's popped in.
Now, yeah.
Kev Human's popped in. As soon as I say that's about it, they've all popped in.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it grows between now and 2 o'clock UK time. So 2 o'clock UK 2 o'clock UK time is about 9 minutes away, according to me. Merbert's saying we can handle it. What, you can handle turning into pumpkins, or you can handle coming on the show? Actually, either would be pretty bad. It's if you're wondering what time it is where I am, it's actually 8:52 p.m. and it's in Perth, Western Australia, one of the most remote cities in the world. I kind of feel this is kind of cool that I can be here and I've got the technology to connect to you guys. I think it's an awesome thing. But wherever you are in the world, sing out. Let us know if you're new. Don't be shy. Jump into chat. There's more people who are watching that actually are in chat. So do jump into chat and say g'day. I'll pop your name up if you need to. Tell us where you're from too, if you're new. We like to have new people. Robbie's saying there's a Vermeer auction that starts to close in 8 minutes. What's a Vermeer auction?
Vermeer, music
Vermeer.
technology auction, yeah.
Synth stuff.
Chris Cole's in Brisbane.
Chris, yay, another Aussie. This is awesome. We love the no daylight savings now. See, look at that. Yay, good on you, Chris. Fly the kangaroo flag. Go us. Sergio's here. We haven't had Sergio for ages. There you go. Look at that. Sergio's back. And he's in South America, if I remember rightly. Argentina or somewhere around there.
9:53 a.m.
9:53. Yeah, must be Argentina. Must be. Good to see Sergio back. Haven't seen him for a while, like we said. Yeah, hola, exactly. Hola. But no swear words, Mr. Brooks.
I don't know one. Oh no, I do. I know one.
He's thought about it.
That one.
The one that starts with B.
Yeah. No, it starts with it's got a C and it's got a J in it.
Oh, that one. Okay, yeah, don't do that one. But the one I'm thinking of, the one I'm thinking of that starts with B. But yeah, we won't do that one.
Just announced.
Yes. Anyway, we what I thought I might do quickly is just kind of talk to you guys about something that happened during the week, which is kind of a sad thing, really. We had someone who wanted to try and punish me for sharing a video, which I do every week when I like to share with you guys the news about new synths. And as far as I'm concerned, if a synth manufacturer is out there and they're putting their photos up of their gear that they want the world to know about, the information that they share with us is for us to share. But this particular person decided that he didn't want my channel to share it, and as a result, my channel got a copyright strike. And if I get 3 strikes, that's it for me. I have to go and start again from scratch. I'll use a different alias, and I might have to wear a hat. But even just having said that, it was pretty hypocritical actually, because this person let other channels share this content, but because he didn't like me being critical of the way he was describing his stuff in his video, and I thought it was constructive criticism, he decided to take it out on my channel. And as a result, it doesn't just affect me, it actually affects everyone that is part of my channel and my synth community that I like to share. I do this for free, and you guys all enjoy it. So that means now that whole episode, that 3 hours and 20-minute episode that we did last week, no longer exists. YouTube has just gone boop and popped it off. We can't touch it. We've got no recourse. We can't. I mean, we could fight him in court if we wanted to, but I couldn't be asked, to be honest. We can't do anything, and I'm going to leave it like that. I'm going to let him realise that he wants to make a big drama out of it. Then that's on him. We're just doing what we always do, and that's we're sharing synths, we're sharing information that the manufacturers want us to share. And if there's some sort of...
Good job Rave wasn't on the channel.
If there's some sort of ego that he's got because he's got the rights to share something, then he probably needs to have a big, long, hard think about whether that's actually true. And just because he's been given the opportunity to film at a synth festival or something on behalf of the manufacturer, it doesn't give him usually the opportunity to, you know, be greedy with the rights.
So it wasn't the synth manufacturer then, it was the person who was doing that presentation on behalf of that French
actual synth fest
thing.
Yeah. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Symbol, just don't feature him ever again. Just don't. If there's anything, even if it's interesting, just say, right, sorry, we're not covering it.
No.
Because, you know, we can live without that sort of pettiness, really.
I'm not going to mention his name because I don't want to get done for defamation. And I know what this guy's like already, so I'm not going to mention the name of the synth company. Whoever was watching last week will know exactly what we were talking about. But just to let you know, how it works is I've spoken to really well-known people who do this, who have websites that publish information about synths, who do YouTube channels, multiple people. We don't need to get permission to share photos of a press release for a synth manufacturer if they want us to share it. That's actually good for them. They're not going to punish us for sharing stuff. I mean, that would be completely the opposite of what they are about. They want the world to know, and platforms like my channel are that. So if this particular gentleman wants to behave like that, then that's on him, and that's on his shoulders. He can act accordingly. And if he doesn't take criticism, then that's also on him, because you know, I get criticised a lot on my channel for lots of things, and I don't have a little cry about it. You know, so let it just sit there and fester. I say let it stink. Let the stink be there, and people can just you guys you've got your own opinions. You guys can take it how you want. But I just looking at the comments and chat, most people are kind of along the same way. I think they're kind of in agreement. A few swear words in there. Yeah. But anyway, don't worry. Do not worry, people. It hasn't at all cramped my style. In fact, what it's done is it's just made me think a little bit harder about, you know, the truth that's out there and who we're going to support here. I did reach out to that synth manufacturer, and just to let you know, I'm not going to mention their name. And in fact, let's not mention their name. They didn't respond to my email, and it's been probably about 3 working days now, give and take time differences and all that sort of stuff. They've had their opportunity to respond to it, and I didn't think they handled that very well either. If you're a synth manufacturer, by the way, and I love all synth manufacturers, except for that one, you put your stuff out there, you want us to share it. So we don't need to ask you for permission. If you're going to be someone that wants us, that wants to own copyright to your content and things like that, that's really not going to be the way you're going to get around very well. So I would suggest you, if you are a small synth manufacturing company like does Eurorack and stuff, make sure that if you've got videos on your channel, that it is yours, make sure that you have them so that they don't trigger copyright strikes and things like that on especially with, you know, us, because we're spreading the good word, right? And all the people that come to this channel are here to enjoy. So, you know, that's what it's about. Right, and on that note, we should start the show, because I want it to be happy from here on. So let's go. Ready? Yeah.
It's all smile.
We are here. Yes, it's Saturday. Rejoice, everyone. It's another week, and you've made it all the way to another episode of Synth Geekery. What are we at now, guys? 157? Wow. How did that happen? It's really good to have you, and wherever you are in the world, if it's early in the morning, late at night, it's awesome that you're here. Thanks for sharing your time with us. We really appreciate it. Today, we've got a cool topic. We're going to talk about clever synths, synths that will literally outsmart me. That won't be hard. But yeah, it'll be cool to talk about that. We did talk last week about simple synths. So this time we're going to kind of do the opposite, I guess, in a way. So don't miss out on that. That's going to be a little bit down the track in the show, probably maybe in an hour's time, maybe. It depends on how we get through. Maybe it's shorter, I don't know. We've got some regular segments that we're going to come up with first. If you're new here, stick around for those because we do them every week. But before we do anything, we must say hello to our regular video panel here, starting with Mr. Darren, who's got a cup in hand. Bit of branding there. How are you, mate? How's your week been?
It's always branding. This has to be my branding section, otherwise I'd be doomed. Not that it makes any difference. Hello. How's tricks?
Yeah, good. You've been busy? What have you been up to?
I think next time I'll have neon light behind me. Branding.
Yeah. Why not? Sell yourself.
That and I'll have Rave here.
Yeah, do it.
Rave will be really angry. He doesn't have to get angry these days, I'll tell you.
Oh no, we should get him on and we can let him have a little rant about our French mate.
Well, He'll be rant. Well, no, probably best not actually. Yeah, he rants about knobs as it is.
That's a good one. Oh, I love it.
Yeah, he's pulled a few off. Yeah, not too bad.
Wow.
Not too bad. I've done a track for tomorrow, which is the follow up to the All Together. So it's called Together. So it's the B side of All Together, actually. So other than that, I'm working on Ray's album, or helping him work on that. Not a great deal. And all the other stuff that I'm trying to go out this year with the other albums. But other than that, yeah, it's just been a fine, cold, okay week.
Good. Excellent. Well, a fine, okay week. We can accept that. What about you, Mr. Brooks? How's your week been? Nice to have you here too, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Always nice to be here. My week, sort of straight after last week's show, went round to Grace's to do another thing for hardware jams. That was a lot of fun because that all had to be done in 5 minutes. It sounds ridiculous, but yeah, it was a 5-minute challenge. We spent a bit of time sort of working out what was going to happen and how to do it, but it really was. We did it. We set the cameras up and then went, right, go. We did that, and then by sort of like evening on Sunday, I felt like I was dying 1,000 deaths, and I've spent sort of Monday, Tuesday, pretty much just in bed, dying with a horrible cold. Kept doing all my usual COVID tests, and they've all come back negative. So it really was just a cold. But feeling better now. But I've also been in here just learning things. Just what happens if I do that, or how does that work with this? So I also then did a little impromptu jam, not sort of like a little live stream, because I'd had a few beers, and I thought, what happens if I press that button on YouTube and did a little live stream? Apparently it wasn't very good. It came through in mono, and I don't know what I did, but in the meantime, Mr. Spong, the lovely Mr. Spong, who's in the chat, Kent, he sent me a nice audio interface, which is probably a lot better than the one that's in the Mackie desk from M Audio, and that seems to have solved problems. And again, I'm sort of just learning how that works. It's sort of 8 in, 8 out audio interface, so that's quite funky. So thank you very much, Kent, for that. Very, very, very much appreciated. Now it's another thing to learn how to use. So, and then what
did you say it was? What brand of audio interface?
It's an M Audio M Track 8.
Okay, nice.
So it's quite a nice thing. It's substantial and very chunky, and
I think
immediately.
I think they're class compliant. Those ones. I don't think you need any drivers.
No, I did download drivers for it. I did download from the M Audio site. But yeah, that worked fine. And I've downloaded a load of samples and managed to get them this is me getting proper high tech, sticking them on an SD card, putting them in the MPC,
Ooh.
finding out how to make the bloody MPC or how to find the bloody things, because the menu structures, that was a headache. Thanks, Inky, for helping me with that one. And then mapping them across to the pads. Oh, very, very clever I am. And then actually
Very
saving
good.
it as a program. Oh,
Nice.
yeah, it's like I know what I'm doing with this bloody box now.
You'll be able to do tutorial videos now.
No, don't think so. Here's the on button.
There is a new feature that they've added into one of the firmware updates recently, where the file browsing is a bit easier. I think they've got a search feature as well, which does help.
Oh, has there been another update for it?
Oh, not since we've last announced it. It's been a while.
Oh,
the last one was the Mellotron and stuff.
The Mellotrons and the Selenas and stuff.
Yeah, you've got that,
which was great. I really like that. Yeah, I really like that. I mean, to be honest, I was saying to Inky on the phone, I said, if nothing else, this MPC is. Somebody must have switched Netflix on in the building.
Turn it off.
It's a great polysynth. Actually, it's a really great polysynth. And you can have all these different instances of it as well going, which is actually really fab. So I really rate those. They're great fun.
Yeah. Hey, why don't we have a look at the Vermeer auction? I've actually got it up on my page. I've noticed in there's an EMS Synthy in there, and that might be what everyone's kind of going Google about. So here it is. Here, if you're wondering,
I think there's a CS80 in there as well somewhere.
So what have we got? We've got Quasi-MIDI's just closed, so that one's gone. There's Roland Digital Rack server. I actually don't know what it is unless I click on it. So Roland what? We don't know. We'd have to click on it. I don't really feel like clicking. CS40, EMS Synthy A, Harmonix. Well, that Synthy A is the guide price. Oh no, the highest bid is £13,601. So that's going to go for a fair bit. There's a Moog, the Source there, a kit, service kit, okay. Let's click on one of these Roland ones. What's this half rack? That doesn't look like it's going to be that much, does it? Service notes, I don't know if we need that to look at that stuff really, to be honest. Anyway, there's a couple of things. People are probably going to say to me, there's other rooms, there's other categories. Yeah, there probably is, but I'm just looking at that for now. Anyway, so we can keep an eye on it. If you guys want to sing out anything, I'll keep that page open during the show. Beautiful. We should, as I said quickly before, say hello to the chatties. There's all the chatties there. There's definitely a downside more people than when we were saying hello about 10 minutes ago. But hello to everyone who's joined since, and thanks for being part of the show. Stick around. We're going to do the first segment, which is Funny Side. And me being a nice person that I am, and having my strike from YouTube, I have got permission to use every single thing that's on this show today. So nice try if anyone tries to take me down. Right, starting with this one. Nice lags, but mine are warmer. I love it, like the Transformer stuff. But someone's decided to, I just think it's really cool. Someone's decided to sort of do the digital versus analog kind of fight here, and there's a lot in this. There's the Transformers, there's the Synths, I just think it's really clever. So that one was awesome. That one's through Synth Memes, but the person that put it up I've got permission from, as I said before, so that's cool. And the next one is this one. If you're into puzzles, this is the Puzzle 1000, and you can see up the top, there's the real puzzle. Where did I put that? LFO. It's down below somewhere. I like that one. That was clever. Next one. Should Studio Logic make another synth? No. No, but in yellow. And if you guys don't get that, that is like one of those clever, twisted words there. I do like that one. That was very clever. What else?
That's a bit harsh, that.
That is a bit harsh. Right. What about this one? Good old Vangelis there, with a DeepMind 12 in front of him, and he's going WTF did they do with that second oscillator? It's a good question. That's what I want to know. It's not really kind of there, is it? Gentlemen and ladies and everyone in the chat, what was your favourite meme of the week?
Studio Logic, I think.
Ooh,
got a
Logic. That was very clever, that one, wasn't it?
I'll give the puzzle one. I'll give the puzzle a thumbs up as well.
Puzzle. What are the chatties saying? Puzzles. Puzzles are saying. The Megatron slacks. Oh, it was good. I really like that one. The whole Transformers thing was cool. Especially the analog versus digital, the warm and the cold argument. I thought that was very clever. Yeah. Inky likes the sledge. Inky likes a good sledge, I reckon.
Yeah, see, we know Andy Synth Addict's been using his black sledge, hasn't he?
Yeah.
The one that's got a black display with black keys and black knobs and black writing and black keys and everything's black. It's all black.
Yeah, and if you turn the lights off, that's really helpful, that synth. So while we joke about yellow, we should be joking about the black one. That's for sure. Anyway, we should go to the next segment, which is news. And we do have...
Nothing wrong with yellow synths. Just look above Darren's head.
Yeah, he's got two of them. He's just been a show-off now. News time. Yes, what is this? And that's definitely not... Why does it always do that? The stupid titles. Just give me a second. Every time. I check it before the show. Promise you I check it before the show. There we go. Why do we do that? This was a leaked photo on social media of this guy playing the synth with his kid. And let me take that little graphic off. If you haven't actually seen this, this is actually a Akai beta test synth. And what we believe the product will be called is the Akai, which we think it's going to be called something like Akai MPC Keys. This is a 61 key version. I don't know if they've got other versions, but we believe it's going to be that. By the way, that website address there is for everyone who wants to check out all of the stuff that we show on the show. There'll be access to all these photos and links and everything that we talk about during the show. But this is not the first time we've talked about this, is it, gentlemen? We've talked about this before.
It's not. We have mentioned it before.
Okay, now, where's me thing? Where's me thing?
You lost your thingy, Rand.
Are you ready? It looks like I'm actually still showing the same show, but I'm not. This is Synth Geekery 146. I think this will. This stuff is going through US federal... these are like technical drawings that Akai have been sending in to the US federal government for approval, you know, obviously for their engineering approval, for if you're into electronic. So there you go. We talked about it on Synth Geekery episode 146. That's about 11 episodes ago. It wasn't that long ago, and we talked about that. I'd say this is a pretty much given. This product's going to be out soon. Who knows? It might be Super Booth that they might be releasing it. It's probably a good time to do it. And if they're sneaking little sneak peeks like that out. Before we kind of talk about the sneaks, why don't we talk about, is this a cool idea? What do you think, Brooksy? You've got an MPC. Yes,
full stop, without a doubt. I'm surprised it's taken them this long. I know that they see the MPC as more of a rhythm machine, but it's so much more than that. I know it's come from that sort of, you know, drum machine sort of background, sampling drum machines sort of originally, but now it is so much more than that. And we have talked before about samplers which have got keyboards on them, and feeling attached to the machine in a way. So like, I know that I've got the little Keystep 37 next to the MPC, and you know I can play it from it. But if I want to play it from a full size keyboard, I've got to turn around. I've got to go here, which is now means I've got my back to it, and then I've got to turn back, and I just find that's a little fiddle faddle, and I'm not quite so happy. But yeah, I really think it is a very good idea, and I definitely give that a thumbs up. If it looks like it's a real thing, which it as in that going to release it to the public, not just run a few prototypes for ideas, I think it's a good thing. I really do. Other people will disagree and say it's completely unnecessary. Why would you bother? But that's fine too. If you don't want a keyboard on it, you get one of those ones, or the MPC Live, or whichever suits you. So, but I mean, obviously, I'm not going to run out and buy one now because I've got that. But I do think, if it had been there previously, I might have given that some serious consideration.
Yeah, I think maybe they didn't. Maybe they didn't release it before because maybe there wasn't really a need to have a keyboard. But since they've done those firmware updates where they've added those plugins, those key group plugins, the Mellotron, the Odyssey, the Solaris, those kind of things. Sorry, not Solaris, Selena. That's really made that into sort of like a little mini DAW now. Darren, what do you think would be kind of a good idea with price with this? Like if they were to release the Akai MPC Key, right? And how much is an MPC one, Brooksy? What about 400, 500 quid, 300 quid?
600
quid,
50, I think.
And what's a decent MIDI controller? What are they worth at the moment? I'll go to Darren in just one sec. What do you reckon? About £100?
A 61.
Yeah, £200.
You can get them for about that, can't you? You can get XAudio do them, and Arturia do them, and all sorts of different ones. You can get 49 or a 61.
Yeah.
Oh.
So for me, the question will be...
It's a decent keyboard, though. It's how good the keyboard feel actually is.
The question for me will be, is it just an MPC whacked with a MIDI controller, or is there going to be something else? Darren, what do you think?
Well, I think fiddle faddle is the word of the day, Andy. Yeah. I think... I think it's... I think it's going to be above the price of the Force, I would have thought. And like Andy says, it all depends on the key bed, doesn't it? I mean, if I can't see him putting a real cheap, nasty keyboard. I mean, they might do, but I can't see that. So even if it is sort of like an MPC blended with a very expensive keyboard, you're going to be looking at about, I don't know, 1, 2 plus even. It just depends. It just depends on what the key bed's like and what they're actually, what's actually going to be in the keyboard. But I think it's going to be like, or I think Andy would like it if he hadn't got the MPC one, because it's more like a W30 on mega steroids, that type of sort of keyboard.
Exactly, Darren.
So I think it'll be great. But like I say, it all depends on what they do with the keyboard. Is it going to be an expensive or a good keyboard? Or is it? I can't see him putting a really khaki one on, to be honest. So I think it's going to be at least probably. Yeah, I'm pushing over 1,000.
I think so, because I think it'll be velocity, and it would be foolish. Are you listening, Roland and Korg? It would be foolish not to put aftertouch on it, even channel aftertouch is
at the very least,
really.
At the very least, yeah.
Particularly.
But I still think it'll be a great keyboard.
So expressive.
The whole thing, synths. Just
The MIDI implementation, see, this is one of the things that we were always a tiny little bit critical with the MPCs. It took them a long time to get the MIDI implementation kind of right with the MPCs. And let me tell you, the MIDI implementation is very complex on this. It's not like they were being lazy or anything. It was actually, if you talk to any of the devs, they will tell you there was a lot of complexity with, external MIDI controlling internal stuff inside the MPC. So this may be also a benefit for them to do, because it might mean the firmware update for your MPCs, and there might be some more MIDI stuff that we're going to get. So who knows? I think
it depends on the amount of keyboard ranges as well. Are they going to do like an 88 key, a 61 key, a 49 key? Things like that.
Yeah, we've only seen tech drawings of the 61, but I wouldn't be surprised if maybe they might do a smaller one, like a 37. Akai do have.
Well, I think they might
sort of
like this Alicia that I've got here. This 49, this VI 49.
49,
something about that size. I think they might be.
Probably you never know.
I think going smaller than that, then you're sort of getting down there.
You might as well just have the box. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's good news anyway. Look, let's keep our eyes out, and I think it's something that if you've never owned an MPC, maybe this might bring the key people across. The The sample people are the MPC lovers. They're going to already have it, but the key people might come across to this product. Just depends on how well they do it, I think. So definitely, I've reached out to InMusic, and we'll see what they have to say anyway. They're obviously not going to tell me anything until they publicly release it anyway, so we'll see what happens. Right, what's next? Where were we? We were here. So, next thing off the ranks is this thing, which is the Norand or Norand. Don't shoot me for not pronouncing this right. So Norand or Norand, I don't know. But the company is actually a really cool company, and this is the Morphos. And I just want to tell you guys a little bit about this before we kind of talk about show the video as well. That's for sure. Let me just get myself sorted. Right, I've got to scroll. Okay, so this is a complex VCO with 3D modeling. And basically what they're saying is it's got morphing touch strips. You can see those touch strips across the top. It's got 3 modulation types. And the other headline with this thing is they're talking about the Z 0 through the TZ-FM, the through 0 FM oscillator, and it's an analog FM oscillator in here. And I'll go into the details about that in a sec. We're going to hear it in a sec, so don't worry. You're going to be able to create new sounds with the morphing thing with this. You'll see how they do it. With the touch strips, there's 3 different forms of 3 layers of X, Y, and Z for each of the presets, and there are 48 presets in total. You can also, let me just turn the title off, you can see the CV controls down the bottom. You can also control the morphing, the XYs, the 3D part through the XYZ CV inputs you can see down the bottom, which is really cool. Now, this is also a new type of contextual modulation, which allows for an attenuator, a modulator, and a ping envelope. The reason why I'm reading this too, because the video doesn't actually have anyone talking. And it also, you can create your own drum sounds, because it's got, like for example, the ping envelope, which is going to have very percussive sort of attributes to it. A little bit about the TZ-FM oscillator. It's, like I said before, an analog oscillator which has an extremely stable through 0 modulation. It provides a very pure harmonic with 4 different wave types. The oscillator is great for precise pitch and tracking over 10 octaves. It features a continuously variable waveform, hard sync and tracking. It's a 28 HP module. It's available now for pre-order for €320. The price will go up to $390. Let's have a little listen. the idea. The morphing of that is incredible. Like just that sort of finger control. And don't forget you can CV control that as well. Let's just have a quick look at their website. This is available to order now. I don't know. So it's delivery in June. So we're not that far away. A couple of months away. They actually do sort of talk a little bit more about how all of that contextual modulation works on here. There's a couple more videos to go check out. It's pretty intuitive with that that touch strip. You've got kind of your presets, and then you've got your morphing, your 3 layers, and that kind of then gets you into the sort of how you can change from X, Y, and Z, and all that sort of stuff. Guys, what do you think of the Morphos? Who wants to go first?
Well, you two are the modular people. I was going to say, you two are the modular people now.
Listen to you.
So,
listen to you.
He's just piping out.
I've just switched myself
all
off.
Your bloody fault.
Wait a minute. What's going on?
You're still there. I can still see you.
Well, I know. Yeah, it's all right. I just set the computer to do something it shouldn't do.
Watch porn.
I'm not sure. I don't know what to say to it, actually. It's no, I've turned it off, I think. Wait a minute. Yes, that's off. I don't know. I like it. I think, as I usually say, it's but like I say, I've not played with my modular for so long. I'm out of touch with it at the moment, so I'll leave it over to you two experts.
Before I go to Andy, I just wanted to ask you. I mean, I don't know how good the audio is coming across these video call things, but did you notice the difference between like a digital sort of, harsh sounding FM oscillator, and this is actually a analog FM oscillator? Did you notice any difference, or did it just sound FM to you?
Yes.
Well, I've only got one earbud in, so it's hard to say. And It sounded
let's go
very FM-y to me.
Let's go to Brooksy.
Yeah, I did hear a difference. You can that sort of FM cross modulation thing. You can do it on the Pro One. I don't think that's this through zero thing, and I'm never really sure what difference that makes. But certainly, it was going into territories which the Pro One could never go into. Certainly, mangling the sound up. I thought it sounded great. I thought it had a really, really nice sound. But again, there was a lot more in that video than we've actually just seen. And it's just some interesting timbres coming out of it. I thought, oh yes, I could cheerfully find house room for one of those, or rack room, even though it's a bloody big thing, isn't it? 28
HP. Yeah, it is big.
No, well, I've just said to Inky, sold to me. I fancy one of these, but that's just all I've done is added it to the list. Really, is the truth. I won't be getting it any time before the summer, I don't think, so I'll miss out on the cheap version. But yeah, because I'm actually quite interested in getting some oscillators which are a bit more interesting than
that's what I mean.
Analog ones that are up here.
Yeah, it's actually really quite unique, isn't it?
I know there's loads of different types of oscillators out there on the market. You can get lost just looking at these different ones, and some of them just seem like, oh, great. Like, I spent ages looking at Piston Honda recently as well, because that does lots of nasty, gnarly industrial noise things. But this sounded a lot like that, but less wavetabley, I suppose. But yeah, anyway, I definitely like the sound of it. I thought it was quite an exciting little video they put out there, because those little buttony things at the top. Thinking, oh, that's fun.
Look, if it's piqued your interest, and I think a lot of people are probably questioning, what is this 3.0 stuff? Definitely Google it and check it out, because it's not just about stable pitch. It's about modulation. It's about quite a lot of stuff. And the fact that this thing was it was morphing between, and it's analog too, it was morphing between sort of like percussive sounds to noisy sounds to sort of right down to the opposite end, which is like the pure sine waves. And when I heard those pure sine waves, geez, they were clean. They were just really clean, like not digital, like absolutely pure they sounded. So that's one of the things that I liked about it. So I can think of a massive sonic capabilities of this thing. So, and also I think it does have its competitors, but I think the performance aspects of that is definitely something I haven't seen. So it's not just the sounds it can make, it's the performance abilities with that. I think this is kind of where its strength is. 10 octaves worth of tuning. Wow, this thing's insane. So yeah, if you want to check that out, it's 320 euros at the moment, and like I said, it's going to be available in June. I did reach out to them, and they gave me permission to show this as well, which I don't need, but I'm doing that on purpose now because of what happened with our French mate. We're going to go on to the next one. We're going to go to this one, which is from XAudio Systems, and this is the Beats FM. Now, the picture that you're seeing here is their Revision 3 prototype, so it actually won't be this that you'll see. In fact, I did reach out to these guys. They did tell me that they haven't got any images yet of the new one, and they'll get them to me as soon as possible, but it's good to show this anyway. So what is this, the Beats FM? This is actually kind of a pretty funky new sort of device. So what it is, it's a stereo sound multiprocessor generator and a sync unit with an FM, AM and shortwave radio in it, and it has warm analog audio. So the Revision 3 one that you can see pictured there has a dual vintage low and high pass analog filter, 4-second stereo digital delay, wideband FM, AM and shortwave radio, I said before, LFO, with 16 waveforms, sync to click track, pulse, or tap tempo. The project started back in 2020. They're now looking at getting Revision 4 off the ground. There's an early opportunity for people who want to back it on Indiegogo. Link is going to be in the blog article at the end of the show once you want to get to it. But there's the Indiegogo site there. I've already backed this myself, so we'll see what happens. I kind of think this is kind of funky. There's a really psycho sort of video with this guy doing it on the third revision and using snippets of audio from radios and stuff like that and slicing it all up in his DAW. It sounds really, really cool. I'll see if I can drag it out. It's on TikTok. I don't know if I've got the ability to show TikTok on here. Let's see if I can do the video. The only way I'm going to do it is through TikTok, right? Let's see. Is it going to show me the video? I don't think it's going to show me the video. Just give me a sec, guys. Well, while I get the video up, do you guys want to make a quick comment about this? It's a bit scratch your head at the moment, isn't it? Like, what is this? What does it do? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think maybe if we just get the video up and you can notice and have a look at the TikTok. Anyway, it's not going to be the best. I do apologise. Let me just get the link. Okay. I don't usually use TikTok on a PC or a Mac, so this is going to be interesting. You usually use TikTok on a mobile, right? Let me just maximize this. Okay. So he's got lots of videos on here.
Sample random. Turn every sound into a percussion. Sample random FM radio in Logic Pro. Create a sampler instrument.
So slicing it up.
Use the paintbrush. Turn down the sustain. Turn every sound into a percussion.
Thing with TikTok, it just repeats the video. There's a whole bunch of videos. The link to the TikTok videos in that blog article, as I mentioned before. Look, that is kind of a very, very, very quick. No, I've got permission. That is a very, very quick thing to show. But basically, what you can gather from that is this is going to be kind of like a sample source. So it's going to be generating sources for you to sample on. And I think this is kind of cool because you can get some weird things out of shortwave radio, that's for sure. Especially if you've got some guy chatting from Iceland or something. You know what I mean? Like it's going to be insane for all the ham radio people out there. Okay, so anyone want to make a quick comment about that?
The box looks really quite fascinating and really, quite intriguing with its antenna and all the knobs and synth parameters that are on it. But the question that went through my head was, what's the difference between just getting a scanner and sticking it through your modular or any other synth that's got an input? I wasn't really sure, and it didn't really come across. I didn't see the TikTok video until you just showed it. I only read what you posted earlier, and it certainly I was definitely intrigued. I was thinking, can't you just get a shortwave radio or a scanner and just noodle about? And because people have been doing that for years. So
that was
just what I was thinking.
He's on Instagram too. It's mad_synth_engineer if you want to look for him on Instagram. XAudio Systems is his company. I kind of was scratching my head a little bit about, like, do people need this or can we do this? I think it's more probably it's the convenience of having all the bits in one box, and then on top of that you've got some audio processing things to assist you with manipulating some of that sound, like with the filters, the high pass, the low pass, the stereo delay, and there's going to be other things on that 4th revision as well. Darren, I don't know about you, is that up your alley or is this kind of a bit weird for you?
I'm a bit like Andy.
Yeah.
Well, no, I like this type of stuff but I'm a bit like Andy. I'm a bit sort of confused of what's the box doing then. Is it just modulating radio? I could just do that in my door, couldn't I?
Well,
just
you probably could.
And fiddle about with lots of.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a bit confused with it. How it'd be. Yeah.
Would you like?
I'm not sure what to say about it. It looks cool. I do love the box. I think it looks cooler.
Would you like us to get Charles on the show so we can talk about it a bit more?
Well,
yeah, if you want.
Interesting, wouldn't it? Fun.
Yeah, he's offered to go on the show, so we need to give him some time to prepare in advance. But there's like a close-up version.
I mean, the box looks great. I mean, I just like that on my desk anyway. But I'm just trying to work out.
Yeah, exactly.
This is the old one though, right? So the new one will be better than this, is what he's told me. This is revision 3. He's got some nice.
I hope
photos.
it doesn't look more modern. I wouldn't want him to make it look modern. I think
I like the retro.
Is actually
it's
really
cool.
Yeah.
I'd probably just have that on the actual desk of the studio, just even if you never use it, for people to go, what's that do? And you go, aha, even I don't know that.
So interesting LFO on there. Wave bender and multiplier. Yeah. Some pretty cool stuff in there.
It's a synth which has got a radio for an oscillator, basically, in it.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
We should get Charles on. I think I'll reply to his email and we'll get him to talk about it on the show because I'm sure he's got millions of things that he can tell us that this
Where's
thing
he
does.
based?
Don't know. +39. What country code is that?
No idea.
Someone will tell us in chat. What's +39 in terms of telephone? He's given me his telephone number. I'm not going to tell you what it is. All right, so
That's his telephone directory.
he's going to get the old yellow pages.
It's at Italy. 49 is 49 Germany. 44 is UK, isn't it?
Italy, everyone's saying Italy.
Europe, Italy.
Oh, he's there.
Italy.
Look, he's in chat. Mad Synth Engineer's in chat. There he is.
All right, he's in Italy. Hello, Mad Synth Engineer. Don't make it modern. Keep it retro. We like that.
He's saying, what about the LFO to radio tuner? That's a cool idea. So you've got.
That's what we want to hear. We want to hear that sort of.
That means that you can manipulate your radio tuning with an LFO. That's what he's saying. Yeah. So some really cool ideas.
Cool.
Right. We'll get him on.
Is it going to be dead expensive?
He's in the chat now. We can ask him questions now, but we'll definitely get him on because I think these products, I know they're very niche, right? But if you're one of these people that likes to create new sounds, and there's plenty of us out there, that oscillator that I just showed before, the Morphos, and this particular product here, from XAudio systems, they are sort of the things that you're going to be looking for to be that sort of unique person that's creating sounds. This is the sort of stuff. And I loved how he sliced it all up in his DAW. That was cool. You could do that in an MPC as well. So you can have that connect to an MPC.
You know what I'm doing on my stuff.
Yeah. It's good to have him in chat, so big welcome. And we'll definitely get him on the show. So I'll talk to him offline about when we can do that.
Cool.
I know that a lot of the world are going through Easter at the moment, so we'll probably sort of look at maybe on the other end of maybe Super Booth or something like that after Super Booth has passed. I think that's it for the news, if I remember rightly. Now, what I wanted to do quickly before we go into the next segment is just revisit, because we don't have a copy of the last show, I just want to kind of revisit. We were talking last week about the sample thing from Sonicware. What was it called again?
Yeah.
Spit it out, Ranz.
Oh, I'm having mental blanks. Anyway, that thing. I'll show you a picture of it in a sec.
See, it's all scripted, this show.
Exactly. So Sonicware have reached out to me. They want to come on the show, and they did that with, you might remember last year, they did that with the XFM as well. So SMPLTREK, that's it. We are going to get them on the show. We're going to get Udo, we're going to get Evan, Chris Lodi. We'll get them all on the show. Hopefully we'll get them all at the same time. And we'll talk to them about this new product that I've now backed on Kickstarter. And I reckon a hell of a lot of you guys also have backed it on Kickstarter. Sasquatch wanted us to re-mention it because he missed out on talking about it last week. So we did have a video that we showed last week of the SMPLTREK, right? And I think we should show it again, if we can. Where are we? Just try and see if I can find that video from YouTube. This is more just for Sasquatch, but I also think it's... just give me a sec while I find it. No, it's YouTube sucks. Sonicware. There we go. Give me 1 sec. We'll find it in 1 second. And maximize that and play. Sasquatch is saying the new demo. All right, we'll do that. We'll get the new demo up. But that was the demo from last week, which it doesn't exist because my show's disappeared. So it's okay to do that. I'll link that in later. There's a new demo. Let's get that one up. This is Udo's demo. I think if you guys missed the boat on that, don't worry, there'll be plenty of these to buy later on down the track. But that thing is insane. I can't wait to get my hands on that towards, I think it's September or something that they're talking about. There's been a bunch of news that's come out during the week. Even just if you've jumped onto Kickstarter, you would have seen the emails from them. They're very active, these guys. So you guys might remember last year when we did the XFM show, we had Evan, we had Udo, we had Chris Lodi. Chris Lodi is now, he was before just a guy that was helping them with beta testing. He's now a member of their staff and he's actually there, to help out. So he's reached out to me during the week as well. It's nice to see Chris working there now, so because he's actually quite knowledgeable about a lot of their products. So there's some really good people working at Sonicware, some ex-Korg people, you know what I mean? Like I think this company's going places. If you haven't got the sample track, go to Kickstarter. I'll link it in the bottom of the article again. It's on by the way, the blog article for last week's show still exists, so YouTube can't take that down, so stuff your YouTube. You can't touch my website. They're all still, all that stuff is still in there anyway, so you're welcome to check that. It's episode 156 if you're looking at that on my website, ranzee.com. Yeah, it really is cheap, says Marco. It is. It's very cheap. Works out to be about $400 Australian, which I think is pretty good at the moment with the Kickstarter. I think it'll go up, of course. No brainer, says Roy. Yeah. When do you go? I think we should get them on the show. What do you reckon, guys? Be good?
Oh, yes. Get them on.
Yeah.
All right. I think it'll be another post Super Booth thing because I think they're going to be busy with Super Booth between you and me. When is Super Booth? It's just after Easter, isn't it? Super Booth, if I remember rightly. So it's about a couple of weeks after Easter, maybe 3 weeks after Easter. All right, cool.
Last weekend in April, isn't
it? Yeah, so like just a couple of weeks after Easter, and then you've got Super Booth, and then I think after that we'll probably see if we can get them on. All right, so it looks like we're going to have a few guests coming up very soon. I've actually got another guest coming after Easter as well, which I'm not going to tell you about just yet because we haven't fully nutted it down, but he's definitely said he's coming. And you guys all know this person, so this will be cool. All right, what have we got? We have got chatties talking about that going crazy. Good idea, Sasquatch, by the way, to show that.
Kent. Kent's just put in.
Yeah, that's it, mate. It's what we earn to mop floors. No, let's go to this one. Oh, I have got some live ones to show you this week. Have I got some live ones to show you? This one here, this one just has been taken off of Reverb. Still got the listing though. Tom Oberheim TVS Pro. I forget who was the one that posted this on Discord. I'm going to have to find out who it was in Discord, sorry, because I don't want to not tell people. It was in the Discord. We've got a Price Watch channel. It was Asef who did this. So big shout out to Asef. He actually did the first three that we're going to look at. So I don't have to repeat, but Asef was in Discord. Yeah, this one is actually live. So I'll go straight over to there. We can actually have a look at photos and everything and about the listing. It's actually finished now, so you can't get it, but that's what a TVS Pro looks like if you're wondering. Has anyone actually owned a TVS Pro? Look at all those patch points at the back. Isn't that a thing of beauty?
It's very lovely. Very lovely.
Very lovely. That to me would be a very nice synth to have with Tom's signature on it as well. We also have, I don't know, 11. That's US dollars, by the way, 11,000 US dollars. Is that a lot of money for that? Do you think, or is that kind of what you'd expect to pay?
Well, they were pretty expensive new, weren't they? And they'll be pretty rare.
Yeah. This isn't the Oberheim Price Watch show, but this one just happens to be an Oberheim as well. This is the expanded. Now this one is still live, so we'll go across to the auction on Reverb. It's not an auction, is it?
Is that US dollars again?
This is US dollars again. I've actually changed my settings in here. You can see that it says Australia, but I've changed it to US dollars. We got some photos of this. It's got a case. So the LEDs are still working. Nice.
Oh, it's a glorious thing, isn't it? But it's a lot of money.
Yeah. I don't know what these are worth, but I just thought I'd show you this sort of stuff. Asef said in chat that, actually no, another guy called Darius in the Price Watch channel in my Discord, he said it's usually about probably about 4,000 to 5,000 US is about the going rate for these. So maybe it's had overpriced, but I wouldn't say it's a scam or a rip-off or anything. Okay, we have also got this one. I thought this one was really interesting. This is a, if you went to the Moog, what do you call it? The Moog, what do they call that thing? Moog Fest 2014, the one where they had the work stat, when you made the work stat. You could actually get this thing as well. Right, for $1,800 US, it's got a $200 price drop, for a teenage engineering pocket thing is kind of a bit crazy, right? But when you actually understand what this is, there's only 200 of these that have been made. So this is number 16 of 200. So that's why they're kind of trying to fetch the steep price tag. This is the Xils-labs EFM 32. I don't really know a lot about it, but obviously that will have some sort of sound fonts and things related to that sort of hip hop, disco, that sort of stuff, right? But yeah, I don't know. Tell us in the chat if you've actually got one of these things. If you actually went to that Moog Fest back in the day, that'd be interesting. Oh, David's Ace. Okay, cool. David's ASF. I didn't actually know that. There you go. David, who is in the chat room, is ASF. Yeah. Nice to know. I never ever remember I don't know if it's scandalous. I definitely think if it's a rare thing, if there's only 200 of these, I definitely think it's probably worth having a crack at seeing if you can get. If you don't want it, it's worth having a crack. If it doesn't sell, then you'll know it's scandalous. And the last one, which was brought to you by Andy Synth Addict, which I thought was actually kind of nice. It's this old 1970s EMS synthy hi-fly guitar synth. And I don't think I've ever seen this before. But in terms of guitar synths, and we've done a show on guitar synths, right? This is US dollars, 7,000 US dollars. It's been discounted again. Quite a lot of discount on that one too. Anyone got one of these or played with one of these? Anyone got one of these? No? In chat, let us know. Yeah, Wagoo said I'd rather have the Moog Fest silver sub harmonica. Yeah, that would have been absolutely. So Native VS is saying it's not a guitar synth, it's a multi FX box. So the listings got it wrong. But it was designed by David Cockrell in 1971.
Kent says the hi-fi is shy, but the price is about right, yeah.
Yeah. He's restored one. Okay, cool. What sort of effects? I can't even really see that. What sort of effects does it does? That's my good English for today. What sort of effects does it do? Because I actually can't access that auction anymore. That was a reverb, not auction, sorry, I should say that was a reverb sale. Let us know anyway in the chat. What was your favourite price watch for today? What did we have? We had the two Oberheims.
Which one would I most like to have? Yeah.
Either
of those Oberheims.
Yeah, the first one, the Oberheim.
The TVS Pro. Yeah.
I don't think either was silly though. I don't think either were. Oh no, actually $11,000 for the two voice might.
Getting a bit high, isn't it? Yeah. If you're a collector and it's like these things don't come around often, you would just go, bang, there, I'll grab that, thanks. When I bought my MKS 70, there wasn't very many of them, you know, for sale. Like they came up maybe once or twice a year at the time. You'll probably even find it's even less now, right? And so when I bought mine, I actually bought mine from a synth, like a vintage synth dealership over in the US, paid the shipping and all that sort of stuff just because I really, really wanted that synth. So that is kind of an example. Like if I really wanted the TVS Pro and they don't come around that often, maybe that's what you'd go. Or maybe you go to, where is it? This website, because there's an auction going on right now. As I said, we'll revisit this. And there's a whole bunch of cool stuff in here, like the Moog Poly 61. Anyway, I don't even know
Moog
if that's
Poly
just...
61?
I think that's just like parts, isn't it? These are just parts. Surely.
Korg Poly 61, surely.
Sorry, I did say Moog, didn't I? I meant to say Korg. Sorry.
Phew, he's still my beating heart.
There is a memory Moog. Oh, that's a service kit. Yeah. Anyway, there's probably other pages, right? Let's look for something that's got a steep price tag. The Pearl Syncussion SY1. The Philips EQ modules. Let's just skip to some sort of random page. These are pretty small prices here. Anything big? Yeah, here we go. The Manley Langevin Mini Massive Stereo EQ. There's some really interesting things in here. Lexicon 224 XL digital reverberator. Yeah. So, who's been salivating over that auction? Who's been looking at their credit card balance and going, oh, can I squeeze a little bit out? Can I squeeze a little bit out? Skip to the end page. Let's go to the end page. What's on the end page? I don't really know much. Is it? Oh, there's a Korg M1.
Keep off your lexicon. Does that mean you've got one, Robert, or that you're wanting to bid on this one?
It's an EMU E5000. Is that? Oh, that's not the end page. Oh, hang on. I've got to click end. Here we go. There's the memory Moog, £6,000. There's an Oxford synthesizer Oscar.
Sorry.
Yeah. There's an Alesis Andromeda there. Gee, that's cheap for an Alesis Andromeda. £2,800. Oh, that's
£3,000 for an
That's
Oscar.
surely going to go more. Oscar's probably about.
That's probably about right.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to go any more than that. Memory Moog's about right. Yeah, those prices aren't too bad. Yes, I want a source, says David. Sorry, Dave, I didn't actually realise you were the ASF guy. Silly me. You probably didn't even tell me too. That's just me getting stupid. Where are we up to? We are up to another segment. And I need to get this thing ready. Sorry. Ooh. Sorry, that's not what I want. Okay, I want that, and we don't want that noise yet. Why does it do that? Oh, I hate YouTube on a browser. Okay, don't play. Good boy. Right, we are going to hit this button here. I think this should work. We are up to that time of the day where it's name that synth. And yes, we do have another one this week, and I won't tell you who it's brought by because you'll guess what it is. Who did bring you this? That's the question. So I reckon you guys will get this one straight away. I think this is going to be dead easy, dead easy. I think it's been pretty hard lately, and I think you guys deserve an easy one. But hey, you never know. You never know. Now, if you never ever watch the show and you think, what the hell's Name That Synth about? What you're going to do is you're going to see a video about to start in a couple of seconds after I stop rambling on. And you have to try and guess what synth it is before we say time's up. There's a couple of visuals that you'll see during the video, and the visuals are actually of the synth, but really they're not going to help you too much. They might even trick you. It's the ears that you've got between on either side of the head there that you're going to have to use in this particular case. I just about said between. Right, here we go. We're going to hit play. Let's get it. Everyone get near the keyboard. Ready? Quick, quick, quick. Here we go. First in, best dress. Who goes going to guess this one? Right, there it is, people. Do we have the correct answer? That is the question. There's quite a lot of people who have guessed a few things. Let's have a look what we've got in the chat room. We've got OP1, we've got Marco who's wondering where the ears are. Sorry for confusing you, mate. We've got Volker Bass, says Mr. Brooks. MS20, we've got Kent saying 100M. Ooh, that's a good one. We've got someone saying it's a 2500, someone saying it's a 2600. Good on you. Good to see you, Scotty, by the way. And Arp Odyssey, Arp Axe, Grey Meanie, Buchler Easel. Yeah, wow. Couple of ideas. Well, I can tell you that at least one person has got it correct in the chat. And what we need to work out is if that one person has got it correct, how much bragging do they want? It was pretty easy, like I said. Let's put them out of their misery. It was pretty easy, I thought, this one. There you go, everybody. It is the Blue Marvin. And the first person to get that correct was Sasquatch. No, Native VS, Barp 2600, he said. Native VS was the first person. Barp 2600 from Native VS. Wagoo was like seconds behind him. Seconds. Wagoo, come on, type faster. Who else was correct? Sasquatch was correct. David was correct, and then David changed it. David, you should stick to your first guess. Who else said 2600? Synthetic said 2600. Yeah. Wow, my ears are tiny, says Adam. Well, you know, I wasn't going to say anything, mate, but, you know, you're definitely not Jumbo, that's for sure. But does it sound like a Blue Marvin? Don't they have the...
It does sound like.
Don't they have the spring reverb in them? I think they actually do, although it's not exactly the same spring reverb, is it, that they used on it? Yeah. If you're wondering who did that, I do need to give credit where credit's due. That was handed in once again by our illustrious Eddie, who has done many of the Name That Synth episodes. So thank you very much, Eddie, for doing that. And everyone, look at Eddie's got a 2600, and he's enjoying himself with it. So let him have some fun and try and trick us.
Well done, Eddie. Thank you.
Too many synths makes a fabulous case for that. Yeah, look, you could definitely get confused between an Odyssey, a 2600, maybe a 2500. I mean, I don't know many people would have 2500s, but definitely the Behringer version of it could sound like that. Maybe even an Arpax, maybe even a Quadra could sound like that. I don't know. By the looks of the photo, he didn't use the third oscillator. If that photo was taken... maybe he did. I don't know. Did he use the third? Oh, yeah, he did use the third oscillator. Yeah, he did. Okay, cool. There we go. All right, who enjoyed Name That Synth this week? It was pretty, like I said, it was pretty easy. You guys deserved an easy one. What about you, Darren? You've got a 2600 above your head. You just You just sat there and just, I don't know, were you munching on these things? Is that what, do you want
Yes,
some?
I was.
Do you want some?
I've got some.
I feel left out.
Here you go, Brooksy. I'll just,
I'll
hang
have
on.
some peanuts.
Let me just,
No,
I'll try and get it down to you. Here we go, I'll just pour them. Here you go. You got to put your hands the other way. It's like a Brady Bunch, isn't it, with all the squares? So what are they saying in the chat? They're saying it could have sounded like a 100M. Yeah. I don't think so, though. I don't think so. Very subtractive, though, definitely. But that's okay. Like I said, it was going to be an easy one this week, and it's okay. We're allowed to have easy ones. It can't always be really hard, because you guys complain. You guys send me messages during the week and saying, come on, Ranz, you can't, like, use a microscope and show, like, you know, a micron of the corner of a knob and say, hey, it's part of the synth. I got, like, attacked for that once. But anyway, we shall go on to the main part of the show, which is this topic. Yep, and if you didn't get it, it says clever synths. What does it mean, clever synths? Does that mean all of a sudden these synths are going to start overtaking our lives and they're going to make music for us because they're super clever? Are they artificial intelligence synths? No, it's not what we mean. What we're talking about is synths that kind of have got some kind of innovative, clever features about them. What makes a clever synth? What do you think? I've got a couple of ideas, and we'll go to you guys in a second. We'll get all your thoughts. Chuck in your ideas and chat for a start. But let me sort of ring a couple of ideas that I wrote down on my notes here. What makes a clever synth? Or what makes a synth clever is probably even another way of asking. Features that are innovative, surprising, and change or add to sound design was one thought that I came up with. Another one I came up with was swift workflow or user interface design. And another one I thought was that offers flexibility and plenty of scope. So they were kind of this is not definitive, there's more. They were kind of the three quick ones that came to mind. But I want to ask you guys a question. So are we mixing clever with complex when we're asking this question? Be careful, maybe we shouldn't. Can complex be frustrating and therefore it wouldn't be clever? And then can clever be complicated? So these kind of contemplate your navel type.
That's just
philosophical questions to ask yourself today.
Last week we made simple synths hard conversation.
Yeah.
Are we going to make the complex synths easy conversation?
Why not? Well, you tell us what you think a clever synth is, Darren.
Well, clever synth. I'm trying to think of some clever synths. It's all.
It's a good place to
pretty
start.
much what you said, as in. Yeah, exactly. It's pretty much as in what you said, that it can do things that slightly, that you don't get on every day. This is sounding really, really bad because it can do things that's a bit off. I say a bit out of the box, a bit just different compared to what you'd expect on a simple synth. Mm-hmm. Clever arpeggiators, and you saw we're going into the sort of workstation area as well, where it can do a multitude of things. You could mean as clever, complex, but not complex as in hard to use. Yeah. Am I on the right track here? So then it's a matter of...
it's very subjective, put it that way.
So
you're not on the wrong or you're not on the right track.
It all depends.
Depends on your opinion, doesn't it?
I mean, you could say the Hydra synth's a clever synth. The way, and synths that can morph between patches, things like that. But I'm trying to think of some clever synths now. You've put me on the spot.
At some point in time...
I haven't got any clever synths, I can tell you that.
At some point in time, I think you do. I think you do. But we'll go over what we think clever synths are.
Maybe it's the person who's using the synth's got to be clever.
Well, in that case, sometimes that means the synth may be complicated and you need to be clever to be able to use it. So that's why I said before, do we mix clever with complex? Brooksy, I know you like this sort of contemplate your navel type questions. Interesting to see your answer here.
Oh. You just know that I'm going to get philosophical. That's the problem. And sorry, but yeah, clever is a human attribute, and these are inanimate objects. I'm sorry, but they are. They need a user. So the point I would make is the cleverness of the designers, the developers, the programmers of any synths over time, and where is the cleverness? And I think for me the cleverness is the people who originally devised the concept in the first place through processes of experimentation and, I dare say, failure, and all those originators. So you could go right back to, say, somebody like Leon Theremin or Harold Border, and then building on that, Bob Moog, Don Buchler, or all of those people who got the polysynth to actually work properly, so it was really usable. Dave Smith, little bits of clever programming and engineering that went into making the things usable for musicians. So the Mini Moog, the Mini Moog, you take that massive, great big modular and you distill it down into something which a mere mortal can understand. That's clever. That's why they have left a mark. And then the sheer cleverness of somebody like Dr. John Chowning and his clever ideas, which were then enhanced and delivered by Yamaha in the FM. That was blooming clever. That was a clever piece of marketing at the right time. Yeah, you could go on and on and on about that. But of course, you need a degree in physics just to be able to work out where the on button is on a DX7. So, but the actual thing itself and that marketing machine of Yamaha's in the 1980s was indeed very clever, very clever, all encompassing, wiped the floor with everything. And it took some innovation.
We're not talking about clever synths then. We're talking about clever inventors to create clever things to make sounds. So the actual synth itself. That's what I mean. This is. Oh, it's going to get complicated.
Yeah, we all get hung up on words, don't we?
You could have the simplest synthesizer on the planet.
I go with Andy. I go with on that.
A complete and utter idiot.
Well, that was going to be my next question.
Well, that counts me out. That's why I have simple synths.
I actually like where Andy went with it. No, I do. I like where he went with it. I think it was important to go where he went because, kind of that was one of the things I wanted to talk about. But the other question is, we talked about simple synths last week. Can a clever synth be a simple synth? And the answer is absolutely.
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
And you mentioned the Mini Moog. In fact, we said the Mini Moog was a simple synth. Yeah. Let's have a look at a couple of things that I read during the week during my Facebook post. And this will back up what Andy's saying, also back up what Darren's saying as well. Yeah. On the Mini Moog, for example, when you raise the envelope to the cutoff frequency amount, it automatically reduces the cutoff frequency so that overall volume remains the same. That's clever, right? You need to have one hand on the synth when you're on stage to manage it. The multi-Moog is what he said, not Mini Moog, sorry. Another guy said, having features that you didn't know you needed.
No, that's not clever. That's a clever invention, sort of, isn't it? For the synth.
How about that one?
The synth itself's not clever.
How about having features that you didn't know you needed until you actually got them? That could be a clever thing. One other guy said little things, like, for example, the Odyssey is clever in that regard. The ability to turn the oscillators down to LFO rate, and then the fact that you can have the S sample and hold mixer can be used as a mod source. It's a feature set. It isn't well breaking, but there's always new sounds that you can find on it. So he's gone to the Odyssey. Then someone said the monologue is a clever synth. So there's an example of a clever synth. Where's another example? Someone said the electron model cycle fits the description perfectly because it takes something complex, e.g. FM synthesis, and makes it easy and fun whilst not being too limited in the sounds it can produce. So that's a clever synth. I probably agree with that. Steiner Parker filter. This is going back more to what Andy was saying, the actual designers and engineers. So the Steiner Parker filter is a clever design because you don't lose amplitude when you increase resonance. And probably the next thing is where we're going to go with this is what is a good example of a clever synth. And some people suggested things like the Nord Lead 3, the Virus, Access Virus is clever synth because it's got so much in it. So there's some good, things. But the next question
Roland, is System 1 and 8.
System 8, yeah. A lot of people would have said that, I think. Anything that's got a good intuitive mod matrix. So some synths have really complex mod matrix and some synths have really intuitive mod matrix. In other words, it's not too difficult for anyone to sort of quickly get on top of manipulating the mod matrix. So some examples of that may be coming through. Anyway, chatties. What is a clever synth? There's been plenty of people throwing their opinions. Look at the chats just scrolling crazy right now. Yes. Human Error said, is clever synths simple to use? Well, that's what we said. I think we can say that a clever synth doesn't have to be not a simple synth. Wow, there's been a lot of comments in here. I have to sort of try to pick out some things. Okay, so tell us in chat examples of what you think a clever synth is and a brief reason why. Just back it up with something. For example, let me see if I can find one. Cresshead said a DX7 uses sine waves to make complex sounds. That's clever, in his opinion. George has said my EMU Proteus rack that I bought in 2001 is a bottomless piece of kit. Why though, George? Why is it clever? Tell us why. Synth Addict saying the 2600 is clever since the way it's laid out, so the user interface is well. It was built, for an education, as we mentioned last week, and there's plenty of variation and options to choose from. So I agree with that. I think it's clever in its design because it's not the typical Moog, style layout. Some people are disagreeing with the word clever. That's fine. You're allowed to. It's very subjective, this stuff. Some people are saying clever doesn't necessarily mean the synth has the ability to do things like logic. It might mean that it's designed clever. Gert is saying the DSI Pro 2 is a clever and simple synth in one. Adam's saying the Alpha Juno, it's got 7-stage envelopes. They are unique in the wave shapes for its time. Yeah, that's pretty clever. Definitely, yeah. Hydrasynth always gets mentioned as a clever synth. Did in my Facebook post. Scott's saying the Hydrasynth because internally it is hopelessly complex, but yet that has a very simple to use interface that makes it fun and fast to use. Yeah, I like that one. So,
which is what I was going to say about what Scott's just said. I think that's actually, for me, the essence. It's not about how complex something is. It's about how well it's been implemented so that the user can actually use it without feeling frustrated all the time.
Yeah,
I think that's really very, very important. I mean, that's one of the reasons I'd love to have a try on a Hydrasynth. I haven't had a chance to yet. I really would, because me, my ongoing battles with that bloody box, the sheer complexity, and sometimes the fact that it's not intuitive to use, I find it really quite hard. But I mean, one thing I was going to mention that I think was really clever was that's been implemented on the Hydrasynth is the programming layout of buttons which take you to pages. So you've got your oscillator buttons, your filter buttons, your envelope buttons, your LFO buttons, in a sort of signal path format, like the ESQ1 had That with those buttons, you just take you straight to it. The SQ80 had them. Those in Sonic. I know they said that they didn't take it from there, but I'm sorry, but it's so similar. It must have had some influence. That I think that's a clever way of presenting a structure, because sometimes the parameter access things are really, really difficult to find out where you are. Where have I got to? I've disappeared down this rabbit hole, and where am I? And those little buttons, that to me is a clever implementation.
Yeah. Look, there's been some good ideas coming through, but before we get to those, I thought I'd just quickly show you back to my notes, because I haven't touched them since, and you just mentioned it, and they mentioned it as well. I wrote Swift workflow in my notes as well, so I think we're on the same wavelength thing. Wagoo put in some chuffs again this week. Thanks, Wagoo, for the chuffs. Akai Timberwolf is the cleverest of them all, question mark.
It's so
maybe.
clever, it's defeated all of us.
One day, someone is going to prove us all wrong and say, look at this, you guys were idiots for not buying it. We need to get a couple of...
because you bought one.
Well,
Kent.
I can say whatever I want. Where is it? George got back to us with his reasons, and I've lost it now. It said something about the... Oh, God, where's it gone? Why do things have to scroll off? Just paste it. Sorry, just post it again, George, because I can't find it. It's just disappeared. God, you guys chat. It's been awesome. What I was going to say. Also, someone mentioned, who was it? Sasquatch mentioned the Kurzweil K2600 as a clever synth. I'd have to agree with that. I think that that setup was really innovative. I mean, hell, didn't Robert Miles make a whole album on that synth? Or was it the K2000? I can't remember which one he used. I think it was one of those anyway. Waldorf Rocket and Strikefet, simple interface yet very complex sounds. Yeah, simple and clever. I definitely say. I don't know if I'd say they're complex. I would say they're clever. Yes. Where are we? There was one more that I wanted to mention in the chat. Sorry, I'm just reading all your comments and they're scrolling like crazy. Adam said the Mini Brute and the Matrix Brute for their wave shaping all in analog. Yeah, I definitely liked that. That's pretty clever. I think that's cool. Sergio said the Nord Modular G2 and the Nord Lead 3 with the pots with the LED collars. Yeah, that helps you, the visual things sometimes on synths. Do you remember we talked about that with the Slim Fatty and the Little Fatty? Had the little LED lights going around the knobs, and it helps you remember where it picked up the patch setting. Those sort of things are clever. I like that sort of stuff. Sorry, did George say it again? I can't remember. Nope, not yet. He's probably gone. He's probably thrown his synth at the screen because I missed it. Sorry, mate. It just really scrolled really quickly all of a sudden, and that does tend to happen. Yeah, look at that scroll.
The aptitude. The D-beam was supposed to be clever, but...
Yeah, the D-beam.
Wagyu has apoplexy.
We all love a D-beam.
I've got a few D-beams in here. I've got... did they put the D-beam on the MC303?
MC505.
No.
Only on the 505, isn't it? Yeah, I've got it on I've got the 505 as well, and I've also got it on the Gaia. Yes, I don't know if that would be called clever, that synth though.
Yeah.
Oh, didn't what's his name?
Didn't they put it on the G101?
Florian did the video on Gaia this week, so I probably should go watch that.
It's good actually.
Bad Gear.
Yeah, it was. I mean, as he always does, he takes yourself as Bad Gear and makes it sound great.
Oh, that's his. That's what he does.
Really Bad Gear?
No, it's not. I
thought it. No, it's not. It's a cool little synth.
There's one thing that it frustrates people about, but yeah, you get over it pretty quick. It makes really good supersaw sounds. That's if you ever want a supersaw, get a guy out. I'm not going to mention that. Sorry, Robbie. I will not mention that company ever again. after what's just happened with me. Yeah, good and simple, says Synth. Native saying, how did Audio Pills or Florian compare it to the SH201? And I actually haven't watched the video yet. I just saw him post it, so we'll definitely, we'll definitely check that out when I have some time during the weekend. All right. So, examples of clever synths in your studio. Darren, you reckon you don't have any, right? That's what you said before. Are you standing by that? You don't have any clever synths there?
Well, it depends. Like you say, it depends on how we're defining clever, as we've just discussed now. So, there's quite a lot of things that are clever. I mean, you could even go on to, I don't know, we're not going on to it, we could even go on to VST synths, like Omnisphere is very clever, complex, but at the end of the day, it's still clever and easy. So, depending on how we're meaning clever, yes, I suppose you could say I do have some clever synths. It's the person that's not using them is not clever, that's the problem.
Well, we can't do anything about that. But you shouldn't put yourself down. I think you're pretty clever. Okay,
I'm not putting myself down, I was just stating facts.
Okay, so let's point at a couple here. I would say there's some clever aspects. Let's maybe not say the whole thing in its entirety is clever, but let's say there's some clever aspects to some of your synths. Like, for example, we'll go to the obvious one, the Juno 6. The clever aspect of the Juno 6 is that chorus, because that really does thicken that synth up just with the touch of a button. And it's a go-to feature on that synth, right? So that's quite clever. The invention of how that chorus works by Roland, everyone lusts after that. It's even to this day a sought-after thing. Would you agree?
Yeah, because without the chorus on, it does sound quite tame, quite flat, it's not very big. And as soon as you hit the chorus, so to get away with having sort of virtually one oscillator, with the chorus on makes it so much bigger. So yes, you can say that is clever. The AM1X, you could say, is very clever. I don't know, it's not the first, but wait, you can even you can morph between A and B sound sources to create a dual source, which is really cool. So yeah, there is cleverness there. The DFAM. A clever idea of how to create synthesis. So yeah, you can go in that way as being clever. Yeah, that not so clever on the sequencer if you do it the old style.
Yeah,
that clever on the new way of doing it, or easier, should I say?
Yeah, the
boutique
way of doing it is better, isn't it? Yeah,
using the step sequence instead of the old.
Yeah. Yeah, so sequences on synth make them kind of clever, don't they? Raven? Anything about the Raven?
Yeah, the Raven. Yeah, I do like the Raven, although I must admit I'm having a few issues with it. The way you can stack the 5 or 4 sound sources. You can do the same actually on the XP, but you have to go into the menu to do it more. Whereas on the Raven, you just basically move your dial. So you have to build up one sound is like made of 4. It's 4 sort of. They're not oscillators, but 4 sampled sounds within them. I don't know if I can see that. So you can change them to stack up your sounds just by moving the dial. Very clever, quite easy, quite intuitive. Similar to the XP, but the XP you have to delve into the sort of the menu a little bit more. So yeah, there's quite a few clever synths in that respect. And then in fact the modular, I can't show you the modular, but the Polygogo. Now I'd say that's very clever. Plus it's got graphics that I just like to look at while I'm using it. That's a clever and intuitive and different sound making source way. So yeah, you could class that's clever. So in that respect, a few clever synths.
You definitely
clever design synths. You see, then you could go.
Definitely agree with you with the Polyen makes some good stuff. Okay, so Brooksy, same question to you. looking around what you've got there.
Yep. What do I think are clever? Right. Actually, and it's going to upset people, but I think Behringer have been very clever. Very, very clever. But again, it's not the synths that are clever. It's the company that's made them, pitching them at a good price that people can afford, with sounds that actually are great for the money. No denying that. I think they are really. They've been really quite, very clever. People will think I'm being ridiculous, but it's true. I find it hard just because the user in this instance is basically stupid, right? The machines themselves are not. They've been done brilliantly. It's me trying to learn how to use the bloody stuff. That's my limitation. And again, it comes down to the fact that if the user is a complete and utter Burke, it doesn't matter how clever the synth is. So
that's true. And then you've got the problem where some people find things easy and some people don't as well.
Yep. I mean, if you look over just that up there, I know the Pro one inside out and backwards, so I can use that one really quickly. The thing below it, the D, I find it hard to get the sounds I want out of that because it's not a machine I'm particularly familiar with. Even though I've had it for a while, I still struggle, other than sort of fairly simple, straightforward bass sounds, which of course is what it really does very well. But again, that's my limitation, really, not the machines so much.
Yeah. What one in that environment really kind of made you think, geez, that's a great idea? You know, when you were using it, you thought, geez, that's a really great idea.
In terms of the way it's been implemented, the Bessimula Citaritas Alta is just ace. You know, it really is just mental. In such a small thing, you can get such a wide range of interesting sounds. But like you said, you've got to chuck bits of modulation at it, and just your job is to tame it, really.
Yeah.
But the fact that they've got so much, I love that. I think that's a really well designed, well thought out little bit of kit.
Yeah, it's one of my favourite modules. I love it too. And I don't even have the Alta. I just got the original. So they're similar, but the Alta's got some differences. But yeah, you still get similar sort of results. Eurorack to me is clever. Just Eurorack as a whole, I think, is clever because it has taken off. I mean, it's like, just look at whoever started it. You know, it's gone crazy. Dope, yeah. So it's gone absolutely crazy, and some of those original decisions were, you know, pretty sound decisions, and so I think just as a whole, that form factor is quite clever. Some people hate it, that's fine. Some people also hate keyboard synths too. So, you know, that's where we are in this world. We've got, you know, lovers and haters and fighters out there. In terms of me, I think I've got lots of clever synths in the studio. I think the Bass Station 2 is a clever synth. We talked about it as a simple synth last week, but I also think it's a clever synth in the sense that it really improved on the Bass Station. It really did. It fixed a lot of the shortcomings that the Bass Station had, and then on top of that, it implemented pretty much a knob per function interface. It's not quite there. I think the ADSR side of it is one thing that's a little frustrating, where you've got the 3 switches on it, but other than, you get used to that though. And as a result from that, then they brought out the circuit, mono station, which is a merge of the circuit and the Bass Station 2. And I think that's just ingenious. That whole thing is ingenious because you can use it as a keyboard synth if you plug a keyboard into it. You can use it as a sequencer because it's got one in it, and the sequencer is a very intuitive sequencer, and it's a Bass Station as well. I think it misses a few, you know, tricks that the Bass Station 2's got, of course, but you know, there's so many examples we could talk about it. I could probably go through every single synth that I've got here and mention clever aspects of them. I don't want to do that because I don't think that's, that's sensible. But I'm just picking out a few kind of sort of quirky ones that maybe sort of, you don't realise. I think we mentioned the System 8. I think the System 8 is clever for its engineering. The fact that they've got that sound out of it. The user interface is actually, apart from the menu, all the knobs on it and everything, the user interface is actually well laid out, quite clever design. The sound of that is incredibly good for the fact that it's so digital. It really delivered. It gave you an emulated analog synth after those masterful synths of the past. Roland did do that, and they actually were able to keep their digital, world flying along beautifully. And I think as a result of that, they ended up, it kind of springboarded their whole Roland Cloud business. That doing that synth and going through all those boutiques and that process, that really kind of gave them the code for them to springboard that whole Roland Cloud side of things. I'm pretty sure it happened afterwards. So, and there's plenty. I think the Novation Peak is clever because we also. I think when Chris brought a lot of these things through Novation, he was listening to everyone saying, "The Bass Station 2 is amazing, but I would love it if you made a polyphonic version of it." And he goes, "Well, I don't really want to do like what you think a polyphonic version of the Bass Station 2 is. I kind of want to go one step further." And he made the Peak, and the Peak is digital oscillators through FPGAs, but analog signal paths for each of the voices. So you've got 8 analog filters in that thing, and VCAs and things like that. It's a really great hybrid synth, and that's a testament to him. Bless his souls, left us in this world with some amazing products, but that is a very, very clever design as well. A lot of people still scratch their head about how he did it too, trust me. It took him a while to do that firmware update that just came out. So you can kind of get an idea of what that man was capable of doing. So there's some clever people out there in the world. We mentioned before Don Buchler, we mentioned, Moog, there's some clever people that have designed synths, and I think that there's some clever people to this day that are designing synths right now. We've got some really, really smart people. You mentioned Behringer, Andy. I think what Behringer did that was clever is that they got access to people that are quite old, because all the analog design engineers are starting to become quite old, and some of them are dropping off the earth, and it's really sad because some of that technology is really old. And they were around in the 70s making this stuff, right? And they've parted with us. So to get some people trained up on how to design circuits that still do what those old ARPs and Moogs and all those old synths did in the past, Roland stuff as well, now has paved the way for young people to actually have the knowledge again, and they're able then to actually pick up on that, and maybe they can now innovate. So the whole Behringer sort of clone situation may have opened doors for future innovation and a merge of digital and analog technologies, which we've seen in the last, I would say probably in the last almost 10 years. The digital and analog marriage has really come together quite nicely now. Whereas before there was a fight, there was two camps, many years ago. You either went one way or you went the other. It was very rare that you had the two working well in the old days. And nowadays, I think it's brilliant. So, I completely agree with Brooksy, what he said before about it's the people that make the gear, that make the synths clever. That's where the clever term comes from. And that's why I used it. I could have actually said the title of the show, let's call it, what's the other word I was going to do? Complex synths. That was the other option I was going to use. And I thought, no, because complex can be seen as a negative word. Like, oh, I find that too complex. And I didn't really want to do that, because I thought, well, sometimes things can be complex is a good thing, because that means you've got lots of complexity and features in that. It's deep, right? But sometimes it's complex. It's hard to understand. It's complicated. It's, you know, that I didn't really want to go there. I thought clever is actually a good term, because it could mean a lot of things to us and to you guys. Your purchase decisions are based on the cleverness of something. It could be the cleverness of the design, the cleverness of the features, a whole bunch of things. But I guarantee you the word clever is kind of sitting in the back of your mind when you're thinking about getting this particular bit of gear that you're thinking about getting right now. So yeah. In terms of what is the most clever synth, does anyone want to have a crack at that? What do you think the most clever synth in the world is? It's going to be a hard one. I don't know if I could do it, personally. Do you reckon there's an ultimate clever synth? Like that takes the gong? You know how they do the top 5, you know? I don't really want to do that sort of social media crap, but we're going saying the computer. Someone said Omnisphere before. Colossus.
Omnisphere.
Colossus. Yeah, pretty. Didn't they just release something new? I thought they got it. There was something about them doing
Top
something.
unit.
Yeah, okay.
They've made the Colossus even bigger, which seems like no, can't find the word. No,
A big Colossus.
Super Colossus. It's a hyperbole, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. How can you get, you know, it's a black hole. How can you get a bigger black hole? It's still a black hole. It's infinite.
Massive.
It's infinite to the power of 1. What is there's that it's the square root of -1 equation, isn't there? The 2600 was mentioned by Sasquatch, was clever because of the educational part of it. Well, I really like that. I think when they originally built that, they built it, you know, as it's been said, they built it for an educational reason. And now that Behringer and Korg have remade this 2600, that can now be a thing again. I think, you know, you can actually bring some people back into analog subtractive synthesis through that interface, because it's not the same as, you know, as the mini Moog. It's different to that. It's not that same interface where oscillator, mixer. Yeah,
It's not a mini Moog.
it's not a mini Moog. Kill me now. Well, if you can send me a mini Moog, I'll happy to show that. Because my credit card won't be buying one. I need to break out by the components. The most clever sound source, the most clever interface, the most clever sequencer, says Ken. Yeah, you probably should split it up. Yeah. QRDNK says...
It's called a Euro rack.
Yeah. Norand Mono, complexity, morphing single notes with one sequence, etc., combined with easy to vibe, deeper form factor, worth checking it. Okay, that's his suggestion there. Asiohead had to leave early. Whoever's asking where Asiohead is. Oh, Lisa's asking. Yeah, had to leave early. Yes, so there you go. I kind of think it's a weird subject. Like I kind of think it's not it's not the opposite of a simple synth. Clever synth is not the opposite of a simple synth, because we've already discovered that a clever synth can be a simple synth. Because the opposite of a simple synth is a complex synth. I don't know if I want to do a show on complex synths. I kind of feel that we don't really need to. I think it'll just be a river of hurt if we do. I think you guys can have a think about that during the week. I'm probably going to venture into a different
sort of drum machines next.
Yeah, I think we'll venture into a different topic next week.
Yeah, I think the mention of marketing, somebody just mentioned it. Yeah, Ken Lewis. I actually think that's really very important. Like those synths which just basically wipe the floor with everything else. I mean, the obvious ones to mention are the DX7, then the D50, the M1, and there's like a big gap. I think the JV 1080 was probably the next one that sort of went, oh, everyone's got one of those, and Akai S1000,
samplers.
S1100, yeah, those sort of things. That's pitching something that the market went, oh, we've got to have this.
The
oh yeah, this is what we want. This is what we want. That's nailed it. That's what we're after. And oddly enough, there hasn't been something like that for quite a long time. The new range of analogs, I think, is worth mentioning that came in. We've already mentioned the base station, but even more so with Arturia, they kickstarted it, the Volkers. But in recent times, the only really the Hydrasynth seems to be the one that's gone, yeah, look at this, everybody, and everyone's gone, yeah, we've got to have the Hydrasynth. That seems to be the one that's got everybody talking. And now, of course, this little Kickstarter for the SMPLTREK thing. That might be just the next big thing, seriously. In which case, they have been very clever.
We've got to get it in our hands because
we do
need to see what it actually does in our own hands, because our own personal endeavor with it will be different to what we're seeing in videos. And I say that with complete respect. I just want to take that overlay off because I've still got this baby here, which is the XFM. And I am still kind of wrapping my head around how to use this. It's not like I can't use it. I can use it like I can use the basic features on it.
FM, and you're still trying to wrap your head around it.
Yeah, but there's a few things that I'm struggling with it. So the good guys at Sonicware are reaching out to me, and they're going to give me a hand, which I think is lovely of them. So we'll educate Ranz on how to use the XFM. I think is a good way to go about it. I have this thing where I'm probably a bit like all of us, right? Where some things just work with me and some things are a bit of a challenge, and I do kind of have to sort of take a few steps to get there, and I finally kind of get there. And some things just don't work at all with me. I'm like, I really, really wanted that to work, but no matter what I do, it's just not going to be for me. Now, I think the XFM is probably in the middle. I think it's one where it's going to be a few steps before I get there. And I think I'll get there fine. But I do like a few things about it already. But I've been really wanting to do a video on it, and I haven't been able to because I kind of want to feel like not a master of it, but I kind of want to feel like I'm on top of it. Does that make sense? So, yeah. Everyone's talking about the Timberwolf. Like, wow, it's almost like this thing is kind of haunting you guys, this Timberwolf. Like, is it kind of one of those things because you don't have it? Should I go and get mine and just remind you of... there's some things that are really, really bad on that. Like, I like it, but there's some things on there that are completely, frustrating about that. So, yeah. Yeah. Sasquatch is saying he's pleased to hear he's not alone. Good. It's okay to admit that you're having trouble with stuff. I mean, God, that's what life's about. Yeah, comprehensive user manuals work better for me than videos. I agree. I would actually like to sit down with a user manual at time. We've talked about this before. I think there's a tendency these days for people to not write them. I'm showing you guys this again. It's going to be, in the videos very soon. I'm just going to be very quick at showing you. This is going to be a user manual that I have written for the 2500 series of Behringer Eurorack modules. And I'm not a user manual writer. I have done IT user manuals before, so I have experience in writing manuals. But I want to come across from a point of helping people who have never touched this stuff, don't know anything about it. Just remember the 2500, there's, how many are there out there in the world? There's like a handful. There's not like that many, right? There really isn't that many. There's less 2500s than CS80s. I'm pretty sure. Tell me if I'm wrong, guys, in the chat, but I'm pretty sure that's an actual fact, right? And in that case, because of that, there's not a lot of people that actually know how to use these things properly. So we have to go to historical user. Art were pretty good at writing manuals, by the way. I actually like the art manuals; they're pretty good. They actually were quite educative the way they wrote them too. Hence the 2600 story, right? But what I've done with this particular set of stuff is I've gone and looked at the ARP stuff, and I've translated that into, helping us with the modern Behringer version. So hopefully that's going to be beneficial to you guys. And I think what Sasquatch is saying is correct. I think sometimes the old-fashioned user manual needs to happen again in a big way with a lot of this gear. I think the whole Apple phenomena, where you get a phone and you just don't get anything with it. You just get a box, you take the phone out and you turn it on and you're like, okay, what now? It's like, if I gave an Apple iPhone to my mum, she's in her late 70s. She does have a mobile phone, by the way. I think it would take her quite a bit of time to get up to speed with it. It needs someone standing next to her to go, right now, this is what this button does here. You know what I mean? Like, it's not going to be something that she's going to be able to self-discover. And I think to expect a lot of us in the synth community to have the self-discovery is also a little bit tongue-in-cheek. A little bit tongue-in-cheek. Yeah. Yeah, watch the space with the 2500 stuff, guys. Keith and Watford said it would be great. Yes, it's going to come very, very soon. I'm just finishing off some editing. So that'll happen for all the channel subscribers, and all the Patreons will get straight away access to that in full. And everyone who's not will be able to see the quick version of the videos, but they won't have access to the manuals or the books or anything like that. So yeah. Keep an eye out for that, yeah. All right, I think we've done that topic. What do you think? We've done it? We're finished? Can we screw up the piece of paper and throw it over the back of the shoulder?
Simple, complex, clever synths, all done.
Yeah, and there's a couple that would actually have all of those features all in one, right? You've probably got one above your head there. Simple, clever, and complex. Yeah. Yep, absolutely. I agree.
Right, next week's theme is pointless synths.
Everyone's telling me to get the Timberwolf out. All right, Brooksy, you can entertain them for a second.
Oh, Timberwolf, right? We don't need to do
What's a pointless synth, Brooksy? Tell them what a pointless synth is. Give an example.
A pointless synth. I'm surrounded by them, actually. Really, let's be honest. All of them are pretty pointless. Really, on their own, they're just pointless. Just completely stupid. Would have been better up taking them fishing or knitting or something like that. In fact, if you're into Eurorack, that's a bit like knitting, to be honest. Right, now where do I go with this one? I've just talked myself up a blind alley there. Pointless synthesizers. Synthesizers which I bought, which I wish I'd never bought. Well, I could, yes. Scratches.
But do you get rid of him if you do that, Andy?
No.
So you're like me then?
Well, yeah. I mean, oh no.
I'm back.
I haven't got any sense which are pointless. I haven't got any sense which are pointless at all. It was a silly thing to say. They all have a point. They all have a purpose and a function. And again, it comes down to the user. No matter what it is, somebody will be able to get so much more out of some things than I do. I mean, like the synth which I hardly ever use, like the micro Korg. I hardly ever used it. I never switched the bloody thing on. Every now and again I do, and I turn it around and it surprises me. Should I get rid of it? Probably, but it's pretty worthless, isn't it? I mean, who's going?
Yeah.
How much would they go for?
Hold on to it.
Because
there's a million of them. Yeah, there's a million of them.
25 quid. It's worthless.
Yeah, it is.
Well, it's still a nice little synth. So, yeah. Right, that's me. I'll rabbit it on for a bit. Oh, look at it.
Look at that fantastic dream thing.
A thing of beauty is a joy forever.
There we go, people. That's just to remind you of what you're dreaming that you should have bought this thing, and the answer is probably not, because probably most analog synths could probably do what this thing can do, right? And probably better. There is some things that this thing has that it's quirky. There's some things that this has that.
It's the one good thing on it you can point out, Ranz. One good thing when you go.
Build quality.
I absolutely. The build quality is amazing.
Like
This thing, yeah, I absolutely love the unison.
Good.
The unison mode of this. I really think it's really cool. Not some big fan of the distortion howl thing, but the unison mode of the 4 voices in unison sounds really chunky and thick. I've shown this before. A lot of people rave by the sequencer. They think the sequencer is good because it has its sequencer, heritage from Akai. Akai make really good sequencers, right? So it's very intuitive. What made me buy it?
Future classic syndrome.
I got one offered to me for really cheap, and I kind of just had this feeling that I was intrigued by it. So it's one of those things. It's not a synth that I needed. It's not a synth that I fell in love with or anything like that. But I was intrigued by it. I wasn't. What I was intrigued by was that there were so many people dumping on it. So many people, and I just wanted to see, okay, so why is everyone dumping on this thing? Surely it can't be that much of a flop. And it wasn't that much of a flop. To be honest, it's really not as bad as people are making it out to be. There's some things that really frustrate you about it, like the friggin' filter and the, envelope, and there's some just stupid
the on
things.
Switch.
The on switch, yeah.
Well, Robbie said the best thing about it is the off switch.
But I think at the time, I think there was a few people sort of telling me to try it, and one person who's in the chat right now was quite paramount in doing that, and it's not a bad thing. And at the same time, I was intrigued, and there was one that came across my desk as an offer for me to grab one, and it was really cheap. And I think it was at that stage where the price, they'd only just stopped selling them in the shops. So there was that kind of, that eerie sound,
was that the next day?
ringing in your ear, where they've stopped selling them. That means they've stopped making them, which means now they actually might start being something that people are like, maybe I should have got one because they're not selling them anymore, right? There's that kind of question. So I thought I'd just get one just because of that. And as a result, I haven't been disappointed by it. Disappointed by some of the features of it, but not disappointed as a whole. Like I said, the unison of it sounds beautiful, and it's got a very warm analog sound to it too. I don't think we're going to get like TB303 stories out of it in the future, but who knows? Someone who is really clever, like Kent, clever with electronics, instead of fixing his flaws, you could take a tin wolf apart and see if you could find some hack on it and turn it into something incredible that no one's ever thought of. You just never know, right? You just never know. And all the people that held on to their Timberwolves are going to be like, yeah, told ya. I really don't think that's going to happen, to be honest. But famous last words, right? Because you guys remember that the 303 was built as a bass player, to get rid of the bass player out of your band, right? That's what they built them originally for, was to accompany the drum machines so that you could play guitar and you didn't have to have a bass player or a drummer. You could just be one of those people. But it just did it really badly. It just was so bad at it, and it was a flop, and it didn't sell very many of them. And then someone discovered that you can put it through distortion and make it squeal, and then all of a sudden acid was born, and then the rest is history, right?
A marketing failure.
I think it was.
Yeah, getting Oscar Peterson to market it was a bit of a strange move.
I think the Timberwolf and the Rhythm Wolf were also marketing failures as well. I really do. Yeah. And I don't mean anything wrong to Dan. I think Dan's a lovely guy, by the way, and we shouldn't be ratting out on Dan because he's actually a really nice guy. But I think the way the whole thing was choreographed and, and brought out that particular way, I don't think it was that well thought after. But if you marry that to some bad interface design and some bad choices with, making an analog product, I think that's going to end up in a lot of people's minds as being a disaster, and stay clear of it. But I think, I don't know, like, if you actually, I don't know if any of you guys who rat out on this thing, but if you've actually touched one of these, they are really, really nice. They're just, like, it's actually a quality product. And Akai do make some really quality bits of gear, but the keyboard itself is really nice. It's got the aftertouch spring on it. Everything about it, it's got that, it's probably better than their MPK controllers in that sense. It's metal, it's really, really nice. The knobs have got a nice feedback on them. The actual build of this is actually quality, and the price that they sold it for must have made them a loss. It has to have made them a loss, definitely. I would like to know, if someone's from in music, let us know, be honest with us, let us know why you pulled that product, and how bad was it? I don't think it's a bad thing to tell the truth about something. There's plenty of examples of that. The TB303 we just mentioned, there's other examples in the past as well, where they've stopped making stuff. Why does Moog stop making the Moog Focus? That's a really good question, isn't it? Look what Behringer are planning to do. Why have they stopped making the Moog Focus? Is there no demand for it? I mean, I know there's heaps of people that would love one. They definitely wouldn't want to pay the prices that are being sold at the moment in the used market, that's for sure. It's insane, right? I bought my 12-stage phaser from a shop that had one in stock after Moog had announced they've stopped making them, and this guy in his shop still had one in stock, and he had to sell it at the price that Moog told him to set it at. So I got it for a retail price. It wasn't discounted, it wasn't anything crazy, so it was just the retail price that Moog was selling them for, and I was very lucky to get it. But now they don't make them anymore. They're going for stupid prices. They're going for like 4 or 5 times the price that I paid for it. That is just ridiculous. There's nothing in those products that needs to be paid that sort of money for them. That's just stupidness. So Moog, you should start making them again. Like, what is stopping you from? I understand that the delay, they can't get the chip or something for it. That's fair enough. Or you could just ask a company to remake the chip, I guess. But the other stuff, yeah. The Zoom Arc, yes, says Sasquatch. Yeah, that was a bit of a flop as well, wasn't it? That round thing. Do you guys remember the round thing that Zoom made? That you had to, it was kind of, I think Synth got one, if I remember rightly. So that was a bit of a flop.
The ARC, ARZ, APT, oh, whatever it was. Yeah. ARQ. Yeah,
ARQ.
That's the one.
Yeah, yeah.
Says Wagyu.
NOS components. What's an NOS component, Sergio? I don't actually know what they are. Not knowing the acronym, sorry. When you tell me, I'll go, oh yeah, of course I know. The ARC models were terrible, grod features, but a pain in the ass to use, says Andy, Synth. How about the Casio? Shaped like the Millennium Falcon. Yeah, that was a weird thing, wasn't it? There's some really, really good examples of, synth failures, isn't there, in the world? Did we do an episode on that? I think we did, didn't we? Many years ago.
Yeah, way back.
Yep.
Yeah.
New old stock is what they're saying in the chat for NOS. There you go.
Okay.
In other words, it's old, but they've not been used, so they're still new. Is that what it means? Must be. Anyway.
Everyone's saying new old stock.
New old stuff.
So that means they were making this gear with new old stock until, I guess, the new old stock ran out, is what they're saying. So, I don't know. I haven't actually pulled apart a Moog Foga yet. Yeah, noisy old shit.
Noisy old
Says
shit.
Bert. It's true. Some of them are noisy. He's absolutely spot on. He knows his stuff. Yeah, we definitely did an episode. God, when was it? I need to find out because you've got me now. Hell, it was definitely one of my early ones, wasn't it, Darren? You were around.
Oh yeah. Oh, I don't know what. That's going way back. Well, not. It's got to be last year.
No, it'd be more than that.
You think it's 2020?
Maybe 2019.
2019?
What did we call it? Synths that flopped or something? Did we use the word flopped? Yeah, gear that flopped. It wasn't that long ago. Episode 71.
Yeah, it's nearly 100. Oh, yeah, I suppose. Still, it feels like a time ago.
June 2020 it was. So nearly 2 years ago. Almost 2 years ago. Gear that flopped. Yeah, I wonder what we actually said was the gear that flopped. Oh, that's right. That's right. We went and showed a whole bunch of gear that flopped. We should have a quick look at this because it's kind of interesting. I'm not going to play the video, but let's have a quick look at some of the examples of gear that flopped. Look at that. There was the Akai Synth Station 49 that had the iPad holder in it, and obviously never ever rely on a manufacturer from a different company before you sell your gear, because that they changed the plug in the back of the iPad. That's what that thing looked like. That's right. We had Berg on that show going back a while. And then there was this interesting thing here, the Creative Labs Product Keys, which is a keyboard for your computer with the piano keyboard in front. And I'm just thinking like they could have just made one little extra design feature. Apparently it did have a cover that goes over the keys, right? So apparently it did have a cover that you could rest your palms on. But that was a pretty bad design. And it was also a pretty bad design idea. That definitely flopped, that one. What else we got? Oh, and then we just talked about just general products like the Google glasses. They flopped. That one was a pretty good one. Windows Vista. So yeah, that was a good show. We did that. You should check it out. It's episode 71. If you haven't been around for 3 years or I don't know how long we've been doing this for. Long time. There's some really interesting things that we've covered over the years. That's for sure. Who has the eye bleach? I don't know what that means. Back in the days of
Google glasses.
Oh, right. Windows Vista, it actually wasn't that bad. It really wasn't that bad. I actually had Windows Vista on quite a lot of machines, and I didn't mind it. I mean, it did some stupid things, but it wasn't that bad. But it was in Microsoft's eyes, it was an absolute they didn't make anywhere near the sales that they made with the previous version, which was XP, and the next version that came out after Windows Vista was Windows 7. So, yeah, it was pretty bad. I think there was a version of Windows early in the late 90s or something called Windows ME, Windows Millennium Edition. I remember that. Terrible. It was terrible. And it was back in the days, because Windows 98 was actually a pretty good, for the day, it was actually pretty good. And they really couldn't improve it until they made their next step, which was they merged the NT, they had the sort of two different versions of Windows. They had like a home version, which was the 95, 98, that sort of stuff. And they also had this business version, which was the NT. And then they merged the kernels together so that they could do both. And that was Windows 2000. And then there was Windows XP, which was the real sort of one that kicked them off again. So, yeah, it wasn't really until Windows XP that they...
It seems you've got to miss a step, haven't you? So, if you're currently running Windows 10, which seems to be good and work,
yeah,
Don't upgrade to Windows 11. Leave it. Wait till Windows 12
Hey, I'm still on
comes
Windows
out,
7 on my
or-
PC, yeah.
There's nothing wrong with Windows 7. I had Windows 7 for years.
Well,
It was great. I've got Windows 10
Yeah.
right now. I'm not upgrading to 11 because I think there's a stupid thing that they did. And there's that stupid chip thing that they want for the, I don't know, something to do with security. I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head. I'm having one of those mental blank things. But if you don't have that chip in your motherboard, it'll tell you Windows can't upgrade. And if I actually go in there right now, it'll tell me what it's called. So what, are we going to rush out and buy this chip just because we want to upgrade? You know, it's just stupid. And then all of a sudden there's people...
They're trying to follow the Mac OS system, aren't they? But that's all inbuilt on its own enclave, so it's not as easy for Windows to do that.
TPM, as Sasquatch said, TPM chips. And I just think that is just really, really stupid to force people to have that. I mean, I guess there's some benefits with this TPM security, which we won't go into. And I'm not going to argue against that because I think there is definitely some good ethical and good security reasons for that. But the actual way that it's kind of rolled out to the world is very heavy-handed. It's like climbing a cliff type, thing where you must have this chip. And the thing is, like, motherboards now that are released have got this chip in it, so it's not like it's a big deal. But it means that you're going to have to upgrade your hardware to buy it. Andy, I'm sure yours has it in there because yours is relatively new, your computer, so you've probably got that already in there, right? So if you went to upgrade, it probably would let you.
Possibly. Yeah, but I'm not going to. I've decided I don't see any reason to do so at the minute. So
Yeah. It's like Native DS is saying, Apple have got a weird customer base who are happy to constantly buy new hardware for horrendous prices. Yeah, well, I mean, look, if you kind of don't like the whole Apple world and you're stuck in, that, and you think that you can make a computer much cheaper by putting bits together, then Linux is your friend. Linux doesn't require you to buy an operating system license. Linux you can install from many different flavors of Linux, and you can put Bitwig on it, and you could probably have a reasonably good life running Linux. I don't know how a lot of the VSTs will go, but yeah, see how you go with Linux. I personally think there's definite cases that Windows excels at, and there's definite cases that Apple excels at, which in my case, I've got both. I've got Apple sitting right there, and I've got Windows sitting right here. And I think
I'm talking to you via Apple, and I'm chatting via Windows.
There you go. So the stream is going out via a box that's not run on any computer. How does that grab you? The software that's generating the video is Windows, but the actual streaming box itself is not a computer at all. It's actually a thing called an ATEM Mini Pro ISO. It's a box. There you go. Standalone box. So put that in your pipe, Apple and Microsoft. Apple excels at emptying many people's software. I don't know about that. I think Apple have got some really good software. In fact, some of their software is incredible. And my son right now is doing uni. He's doing first year uni, and he's doing computer science. I don't know why. He's following steps of his old man, but anyway, that's what he wants to do. He's bought himself a Apple laptop for the first time ever. As a kid, he's always had Windows, and he's absolutely loving it. He's playing with all the Mac stuff, and he's getting right into the nerdy parts of the Mac. Opening terminal and installing Python and all this sort of stuff. It was actually quite interesting to see him do it. I was showing him the other day. There's this Python script that I've got that it can convert MIDI format 0 to MIDI format 1, and like me, I just run it and it works, right? And because he's studying Python in his uni degree, he wants to work out how the code works. So he's gone off. He's like, right, I'm going to improve this. So we'll see what happens. You never know. There might be some cool little MIDI converter that he writes that does better than the one I've got. That you don't have to run on a command line, for example. That might be nice. Yeah, GUI, nice little GUI thing. Lady Aptitude says, I always thought they jumped to 10 in order to intimidate Mac. I did too. I thought that as well because they had the OS X and yeah, Windows went straight from 8 to 10. They never did a 9. But yeah, I'm not really sure. What is this about the rumor that Microsoft Windows has a Linux kernel now? This keeps going around. I can't seem to ever find out if it's true or not because no one ever really probably knows. But apparently there's a Linux kernel now in Windows and it might be Windows 11. I don't know if it's Windows 12 yet or whatever. But apparently the reason for it is that it means that Windows doesn't have to rely on Intel processors going ahead in the future because the Linux kernel is a lot more adaptable to be compiled on different CPUs like ARM or, you know what I mean? So that they're not actually married to Intel. So yeah, there you go. So Wagoo says there is a Linux layer that runs through virtualization. Yeah, more interesting. Look at that. But I thought it was to do with it running on non-Intel because there's a bit of a movement away from the old x86 architecture. Interesting. We're talking about geeky stuff, guys. Sorry, I have digressed, haven't I? Let's get back to synths.
Good, because I didn't understand any of that last bit at all. So, yeah, although I'm sure it was very fascinating for people that understood what you were talking about.
They all know it. Look at them. Look at them go.
Yeah, okay. Oh, it's just me.
What I hate about Apple...
Where's my parchment and my quill?
...is the cult following. I don't know. I don't know if it's a cult following.
I'm not a cult follower. I do like my Apple stuff, but I also have the Windows stuff. In fact, half of my tracks are made on PC when I can't be bothered to switch to PC on, and half of them are made on the Apple when I can be bothered to switch down. It depends on which switch is on first.
Do you remember the other day we were opening up boxes of here and I grabbed the Behringer sticker, you know, the triangle Behringer sticker that you get in the Behringer stuff, and I said, oh, that's going on the car, and you guys were laughing. But what about all the people that put the Apple sticker on the back of their car? I mean, that's probably a cult following, right? I wouldn't put an Apple sticker on my car. Yeah, I think that's kind of gone a bit too far. It's kind of like, yeah, do you want to get bashed? Depends on where you come from. Some people would probably like that sort of stuff. I'm not sure. Do you? There's almost nothing I can think of on a Mac that can't be done with key commands. Okay. That's handy to know. Cresshead says, Apple sticker on a car equals carjacked. This show is definitely not going to get sponsored by Apple, that's for sure. I am a big fan of Apple. Do not worry about that. I think they make some good stuff. I've got an Apple phone. I've got an Apple Mac Mini here. I mean, like, you know, this house is full of iPads and God knows, they made a lot of money out of me. I think they're doing quite well.
Yeah, I probably lean more towards Apple, but I'm not dissing PC because I can use PC.
Yeah.
Although my Windows 7 system is now getting a little bit long in the tooth. And if I was to get another computer, I would probably go Mac. Because most of my stuff is on the Mac, which I actually use. But like I say, I do write stuff on the PC with Ableton anyway. But having said that, I'm still on Ableton 9 because I was waiting for Ableton 2, which it has now, for M1. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, when I went from my M1 Mac Mini, I had the Mac Mini before, which was a 2012 Mac Mini. So that what did that last me? 10, 11 years or whatever it was. That was a pretty decent amount of time for a really cheap computer that Apple make. So you know, I was quite happy with it. That's why I got another one. All I did was pull the hard drive out of it, just undid it. It's like a little circle on the bottom of you undo it, and you can actually get in there with a screwdriver and a special screwdriver, but you can pull the hard drives out. And then you can put them in a little cradle thing, right? Which you can just get at your local computer shop. Where's my cradle thing? Here it is. So this thing, it's like a little, it's inside, it's got a It's like a 2.5 inch drive thing. You can undo one screw and you can pull it out, and then you can shove any SATA drive in there. And then that just plugs in via USB. And then I had access to all the data that was on. Not that I needed it because I'd already backed it up and everything, but if I needed, if I ever needed to go back to that old Mac Mini, I had it in there, and it just worked because it's still the same file system. It's using exactly the same file system as what the old one did. And all that stuff was really, really easy. So I don't know, I just kind of didn't really have any bad experience with the transfer from the old Mac to the new Mac. And I knew
it's like Synths, this.
I knew the M1 was going to be...
How your experience is to that.
I knew there was going to be a period where the M1 was going to have no software that was compatible, and there was a bit of a, wait for the world to catch up. Yeah. I knew that. So I was prepared for it. I wasn't going to be negative about it. And I was talking to you guys through all that while it was happening. So, yeah, you're right. It's like Synths, isn't it?
Yeah. If you get on with that system or that synth, then that synth becomes, or even sometimes that manufacturer becomes the one to go for, and you like it. If you don't, then it's the one that you sort of become hater of it, whether it's a synth or a manufacturer. And that's just the way it falls. And if you like them both, then you're on to a winner.
We have that thing, don't we, where we say that you're a Roland fanboy or you're a Behringer fanboy. I don't know, is there really...
I think it's with anything, even cars.
Is there really that anymore,
It's
though?
your experience that you get. I don't know. I think it is. I think if you have a good experience with the product that you've spent your hard-earned cash on, and it works for you and you enjoy it, then that product and that, like I say, whether it's synth, car, computer, becomes your sort of go-to. If you have a really bad experience or you cannot use it or it's just dreadful, then you seem to lean away from that product, that manufacturer, whatever. And that's where the sort of two hatreds come in then, don't you? Because you'll get people who love it and going, I love this, and you're going, I hate that, I've had bad experiences with it. And I think that's the way of the world, I think, on anything.
Yeah. I kind of feel my opinion about cars won't be that well liked. There's a lot of people these days that are very sensitive about environment and the future of our planet and things, and my opinion of cars is kind of a little bit antiquated. I kind of like the older style of car, and yeah, I don't know. Like I think I eventually will go. I think we'll be forced to. I don't know if that's the case, but eventually there'll be probably an electric vehicle in the driveway here. I don't know if it'll be me or the wife that gets the first one. But I think so. The thing with me is I like diesel engines. There's a whole nother discussion that we can go into about this, but I won't get into it. But I like diesel engines, right? And that's really bad for the environment. But there's so many reasons why I like them, and it kind of sucks because I know that in my lifetime I know that probably I'm looking at an extinction of something that I really love, and it's going to be sad.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be sad, right?
Well, I don't think it'll be in our lifetime when it's completely gone, because even if they stopped making them tomorrow, the amount of second-hand diesel petrol that people will be buying is going to be around for years to come. So, but yeah. I think electric is getting pushed on you, even though, is it the right way? I mean, I still think hydrogen, if they can make clean hydrogen and go hydrogen, I think that'd be better.
It's on you to get
just
people
fill it up.
In chat, they're saying it's pulling. What is that? What the hell? I won't go into it.
This is serenity.
There's reasons.
This is what happens in our show. And
there's reasons.
At the end of the show, we can talk about anything.
Reasons. No, like I agree. I think like someone was telling me the other day, and it was a synth person that was telling me this, that the amount of rare earth materials and all this kind of craziness that has to be put into these new electric vehicles is actually like much more damaging to the environment to make these electric vehicles than it is to make a standard, internal combustion vehicle. So that's an interesting thing. Do we really know, the truth behind that? I find that kind of interesting. I don't know whether that's like an oil, is that the OPEC sort of trying to tow us back, so we can buy more oil? But you don't know like who's fueling these kind of innuendos. But
well, don't forget, they do have to mine a heck of a lot, and they're going to have to drag the oceans to get some of the stuff as well. So that's not going to be very friendly, is it?
And some of the rare earths, crazy, you know. And right now you've got the war in Ukraine, and they are one of the only places in the world that do neon gas, right? So,
if you look at all the oil, gas, all the rare stuff that we need to find, it always seems to be in dictatorship areas. So there's something there.
Dictatorship. There is. And what are you saying about Elon Musk? No. No, he's a pretty cool guy. So, yeah, I mean, towing this back to synths, we've got a massive issue right now with synths. We can't get our hands on them because they've got the chip shortages, right? But it's not just chip shortages, it's also other electronic components as well as chips. There's actual, you know, things that go on circuit boards that they can't make because there's not enough access to those chemicals that they can't mine, or they can't access them because of the war or whatever, right? There's a whole bunch of reasons why we actually can't, Ken's saying go back to bikes. There's a whole reason why we can't, I love riding a bike, by the way. One of my favourite things to do. I ride a bike nearly every day if I could. Kids do it with me and everything. And the type of bike I like, by the way, Ken, is I've got a mountain bike. Do you guys call them mountain bikes in your part of the world? You know how you've got racers, which are kind of like road bikes, and then you've got mountain bikes, which have got the thicker tyres. So in Australia, we have so many prickles, right? If you rode like a street bike or a racer on any dirt path around here, you'd literally, like, you would be repairing a puncture every freaking 5 minutes. It's stupid. So yeah, mountain bikes are a cool thing here because they've got the thicker tires, and they've got the anti-prickle mesh in them and things like that. And also they take a bit more of a beating because I'm fat. So you can get on a frame.
I'll go with solid
mountain.
rubber tyres.
Solid rubber tyres, yeah. Dear. Yeah, so getting back to that synth thing, you know, the chips and that. So we are really missing out on quite a lot of stuff because people just can't get the gear made. And it's not just because of that chip factory that burnt down in Japan, because they should have a new one online either by now or pretty soon. And also Intel are making one in Silicon Valley. I was reading whether that's come online soon or it's planned or not sure, where they're going to be doing similar stuff there. So Intel are going to be getting into different types of chip manufacturing as well. So I think that will all that'll fizzle, that shortage of chips. I think it'll fizzle pretty soon. I don't know if it's this year, next year, in 5 years, I don't know. Someone who's in the industry will be able to tell me more of a forecast there, but I definitely think that that's going to be a thing that we won't have to worry about in the future. The thing with the gases and the rare earth materials like the neon gas, nickel was mentioned the other day, right? That you can't get nickel. Does anyone know that Australia has a shitload of nickel down here? Like some of these comments that you read on social media that are in the Northern Hemisphere, they go, "Oh, we can't get nickel because that was all mined in the Ukraine." Nickel is friggin' in heaps of places in the world. Just go get it from one of those other places. It doesn't have to come from the Ukraine. I think it was, I know what it was. It was Mercedes-Benz put an article out that they can't produce enough of their cars for the demand of the orders. And the reason for it is, and they listed a whole bunch of reasons. One of them was they can't get nickel because they need nickel to produce some of the parts that they make in their car. I think it's crazy. They could, get it from Australia or get it from some of the other places like South Africa or wherever else it's been mined. So some of these ideas that the world is stopping certain things, I don't know if we're really being told the truth about these things, because when I challenged it, with a friend that were on the social media article, you should see all the people that were shooting my comment down. Like I said, well, get it from Australia. What's the big deal? Oh, you don't know what they're talking about. You've actually got to make the part. Well, that's not what they said. They said they couldn't make the part because they didn't have nickel. So what they need is nickel. We can give them nickel. Now, what's the problem? Do you know what I mean? So, so synths, synths are in that bucket right now, right?
Well, it's always good for them to say that they can't get the stuff or it's harder to get stuff because that way they can also tweak the price up.
I absolutely think it's the what you said. It's a bit of BS.
We're struggling to get the price, so we're going to have to ship it in from somewhere else. It's going to cost us an extra couple of, £100 per ton or whatever. So, yeah.
Do you guys have that situation in your country right now? So in Australia right now, there's an absolute shortage of getting cars. There's like 12-month waiting lists for cars. Do you have that problem in your country? Or is it just really easy to get cars still?
On some new cars, yeah.
Generally.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then there's people buying, like the second-hand car market's all of a sudden got a bit of a, a thing where...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Boom.
It's crazy,
It's
right?
$4,000 dearer than it were last week.
Yeah, well,
Yep.
Are we watching inflation happen, guys?
Unfortunately, everywhere.
Yeah. Maybe this is planned. Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
And then it'll go pop.
So Ken's saying, Ken's from the US, I think. Ken's saying the car lots are empty over in the US. Wow. And I would have thought that the US, because they made a lot of cars still there. I know that Detroit is kind of like a ghost town now, and that the whole Detroit thing is non-existent anymore. But they still make cars in the US. Yeah. Some car lots are full of cars that no one wants to buy. Yeah, probably ones that have internal combustion engines in them because of the fuel price right now. Right, so people who are friends of mine that live in the US are showing me pictures of their local, what do you call them in the gas stations? And they call them in America, don't they? We call them petrol stations, right? I don't know. What do you guys call them in the UK? Petrol stations? Yeah.
Petrol. Yeah, petrol. That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's not a gas, it's a liquid.
Exactly. Petroleum. Anyway, so they call them gas. They show me pictures of the petrol prices or the gas prices over there. And there's people that are stealing gas or petrol out of each other's cars. It's so crazy. And that's because of, Russia's 30% stakehold in petrol and all sorts of stuff going on there. And I'm not surprised that Ken said that there's car lots that are full of cars that no one wants to buy, because a lot of people are saying, well, stuff buying a slow combustion, an internal combustion, what am I saying, slow combustion? Internal combustion car, because why would I do that when it's going to cost me 5-10 times the amount to run an EV? So now they can't make enough EVs. Now you can't buy an EV. So you've got the same problems as us synth people. We can't get enough synths. You guys can't get enough EVs. Someone was saying that
precipice is rushing towards us at a great pace, isn't it?
It's kind of like a force, isn't it?
Well, we're all going to fall off.
It's like a force. It's like you're being shoved in a corner, and then when you're trapped in a corner, the only decision to make is that decision to get out of the corner. It's like that's kind of what they're doing. They're saying, right, you must now just get an electric vehicle, or you must now behave this way. It's kind of one of those things, right? Mm. I hope it's not.
And then when you've all got them, they will charge you. Well, we get like a car tax over here. But if you have an electric vehicle, it's either very little or free. But obviously, once there's no petrol cars or gas cars, then they're going to have to put it on the electric cars.
But Ken's saying money back. Ken's saying the car lots are usually Dodges and Jeeps, so big SUVs. Yeah, so that makes sense, right? So no one wants to buy the big, thirsty four-wheel drive or SUV, because that's exactly the sort of car that's going to do 17, 18 litres per 100 Ks. What do they call it? Miles per gallon in the US. Do you guys call it miles per gallon in the UK? Because you guys have miles, right? But you don't have gallons. You have litres, right?
Yes.
So I've never understood this.
Sold in litres. The speed limits are all in miles per gallon. All the distances on road signs are in miles. It's totally...
It's bonkers.
It's totally ridiculous.
Just get rid of miles.
We all understand it.
Yeah.
But nobody else does.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay.
Yeah. They
So
wanted to change everything to kilometres, but we couldn't understand that. So they said, well, we're going to have to leave that at the old imperial, and everything else seems to be sort of more metric style. But we can work them both out.
Yeah.
Basically, we just go up to the garage and fill up, and whatever it costs.
What?
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know.
And
I
it
mean,
gets
I can tell you from my point of view that my car would normally, like 2-3 months ago, would only cost me about $50 or $60 Australian, so half that for your pounds, to fill up. And now it's about $130. And there's absolutely no difference in car, so it's obviously the Bowser price that's causing that. And for someone who is a low-income earner, that is going to be massive for them. Like they are going to have to either not use their car as much, or they're going to have to look at a different option. Imagine if they had to use their car because they had to drive to work because they live rural or remote or something like that. That this sort of stuff is going to be like is already hurting a lot of people. So these sort of things, like do you guys remember the fuel crisis of the 70s, right? When they started bringing out those tiny little cars, like the Datsun 180s and the tiny little Corollas that they brought, that was because of the fuel crisis of the 70s, wasn't it? That caused all that. So there was a little electric vehicle kind of movement at that stage too. They did actually make a few electric vehicles. They tried to sort of start that out then, and that was nipped in the bud by the fuel companies, wasn't it? But yeah. My question is if you can, why don't you use public transport? And a lot of people have turned around and said to me, we don't want to use public transport because of COVID. Because public transport is one of the biggest reasons why people catch COVID. I don't know,
And it's not as cheap, because that's the problem. If you want to get people to use public transport, you need to make it better and cheaper for them to decide. You can't force people over, it doesn't work. You need to make people want to go over to that form. So if you're making it more expensive, more hassle, a pain, then they're just not going to do it. They're just going to rather spend more money on going from A to B, seat to seat, at when you want, at the time you want.
Yeah, in some cases, like Ken's saying, what public transport? Some places don't even have it. Like where I live,
Well, exactly.
Outside of the city that I live in, there's literally no public transport. So all the country towns in my state don't have public transport. So it's only in my city that I have it, and then outside of that, it doesn't exist. So he's right. So it doesn't exist. What do you do then? You have to pay fuel prices. I know there was a story of this lady who lives in a remote town in Western Australia, and she lives an hour away from the nearest supermarket. And for her, she's low income earner. She used to do once a week trip into this town because it's an hour away, and she used to buy all her groceries. So what was happening is about a month ago in Australia, when the fuel prices went up, what was that about? Yeah, it was about a month ago, right? We just had this thing where the whole of the Nullarbor had flooded, right? And so it took like 8 weeks or something crazy for the repairs to the road and the railway tracks for that to be all fixed because of the flood damage. And so there was all of this stuff that was all backed up for all the supermarkets and supply chains and that. So she would drive in once a week to go to the supermarket, and the supermarkets were empty because she couldn't get anything because of the supply chain. The only time you could get stuff into those supermarkets is if you air freighted it or ship freighted it, and she had to wait for that to happen. So it was insane. And then on top of that, she had to pay like twice as much for her fuel. So obviously she then had to say, well, we can't go in every week. We now have to go in once every 2 weeks because we just can't afford it. And then as a result, she's now not able to buy certain fresh vegetables and things and meats and things like that. So now all of a sudden their children's health are being suffered because she's going to have to buy things that don't perish as quick. So frozen things, or they're not quite as healthy, right? Fresh things are always going to be the healthiest. So do you just see what I mean? Like all of this stuff, like micro changes here. Just everything like that like just it's like a domino effect, and it just creates massive issues for people that we just don't even know how bad. So yeah, I just thought it was really interesting, and it wasn't one thing that caused it all. There was just a whole bunch of like horrible things that happened all at the same time that just made her world crumble, basically. Imagine if she had an electric vehicle, she wouldn't be able to charge it where she lives. So that wouldn't help her because there's no charging stations, you know. There's no monopoly when there's no people, right? When you've got towns that have only got 100 people living in them, they're not going to put charging stations for electric vehicles, and those governments aren't going to pay for that because they're not going to get the money back on it, the return. So yeah, there's some really crazy stuff. Yes. We have completely gone off topic.
But that's what happens at the end of towards the end of the show.
Yeah, it does. People enjoy it though. I think people like having a
Yeah, no,
chat.
exactly. This is what they're tuning in for. It's not just the banging.
I've got to eat
all the time. Since we have a break.
Yeah.
Famished.
Oh, I've done that today.
Why don't you bring some crisps?
Yeah, you should get some of these.
Oh, yeah, all right. I've got my little cup of peanuts going on. I'm
Get your
rocking my
squashies.
peanuts here, and
Get your squashies.
it's not quite what.
Well, we've hit the 3 hour mark, so I think we can probably wrap the show up anyway. It's been good.
Yep.
Let us know during the week if you want me to do a topic. Don't forget the Discord channel is the channel for ways to keep the sort of conversation going. What's that?
He's just posted a peanut. Thanks, Sen.
That's the Discord channel. If you are, a lot of the people that are staying watching this right now wouldn't even know, would already know about this Discord channel. But if you're new and you're still watching, there's a Discord channel there. Most of the people who live in the eastern part of Australia probably would have gone to bed by now. Anyway, it's been nice. It's been nice talking about clever synths. It's been nice talking about gas prices and cars and chip shortages and computers and operating systems. God, we talked about everything tonight. And I hope you enjoyed it. We'll be back next week with some more stuff. I did say that there's a chance that I might not do an Easter show. I will definitely be doing a show next week, so don't worry. There's not going to be a break. And YouTube, if you're watching, you can't stop me. I'm going to keep streaming, and even if it's on a different channel, I don't care, or even if it's on a different platform, you can't knock me down.
And tomorrow,
easily.
my B-sides are, by the way.
Oh yes, and also Andy has released a new thing on his Bandcamp as well.
Oh, I forgot.
Yes, so
I forgot.
let's just quickly do that. Andy Vonal. Is it andyvonal.bandcamp.com, or you don't have that set up?
Yep.
It is.
Bandcamp/Andy Vonal in it. Yeah.
Did that work? You won't know because you're not looking at what I'm looking at.
No, we're not.
Come on. It does. Sorry. It's not letting me click on.
Mounting. Andy Vonal.
How do I click on that?
Oh, I don't know.
Right. So where's the?
Is that mine you're looking at? That looks like my collection.
Yeah, but so how do I get this? Hang on a sec. Why is it not letting me? There we go. That's better. This is what I was talking about. This one here. This is the new thing.
Oh, thanks, Ian. Yeah, glad you like that.
That's more like
it's 4 tracks which I performed live at school, actually, in 2017. They're up on my YouTube channel, but Grace Griffin's done a sort of mastering process on them and EQ'd some of the harsh bits out and things. She's actually done a really good job. They sound much nicer, much improved. So they're up there now. And yeah, you don't have to pay anything. You can download it for free. That's absolutely fine. So yeah, quite pleased with the results. But yeah, it's the very end of the, shall I call it, back catalogue, for want of a better word. So from this point on, it'll always have to be new stuff. So Popes,
busy.
keep bullying me. We'll get there.
Get busy.
We'll get there.
Yeah, get busy. And on that massive excitement note of disappointment, no, just kidding. On that awesome stuff, so make sure you do check out his stuff. Oh, the link to your Bandcamp is on that blog article, by the way, Andy. So if they, there's a link to the blog article in the description of the video that you're watching right now, and in there is a link to Andy. This is right up towards the top, which shows guests, and then you'll be able to get to that. All right, we're going to finish because I need to go to bed, and you guys need to get some food or whatever, have lives.
Yeah.
All the best, everyone.
Okay, folks.
Hooroo.
We'll see you.
I'll take care.
Bye-bye.